Saving America one mind at a time. This is Smith Radio. And now, your hosts, Carrie and Brian Smith.
Because, you know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
And that one should be in prison. Is this a copyright?
We want to remind the audience to please not.
But we're talking about
talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Oh my God.
Good evening, everybody.
Now, having said all this, why aren't I 50 points ahead, you might ask?
Oh, my goodness.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome.
Somebody's getting slap happy on the sound bites, I guess. Just hitting buttons. It's like we got a cat in the producer's room just walking across all the buttons or something.
This is painful. This really and truly.
We got a new producer. Good times, man. No.
Mittens. Mittens is our producer.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith.
Carrie Smith.
Giving you all the breaking news of the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all. We go back through last week and we find the golden nuggets that you may or may not have seen, some of the things you may have missed. The small technical difficulties here at the studio.
Angry.
We're getting through it. Deep
go.
State really getting deep on Smith Radio. If you want to be a part of the show, you can listen to us every Sunday live, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
Standard Time. We got an Apple restart. And if you...
That's copyright. By the way, we're going to end up getting busted by YouTube for having the Apple restart.
Is it? Well, I'm sure it's copyright. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it was used as a sound, like a bite, I guess, on the movie WALL-E. Remember when he would recharge?
Did they get...
They probably had to pay Apple millions for that. Oh, no. Apple probably paid Disney millions for that, or Pixar,
to
whoever
stick
made
it in there.
Just so they could get their little sound clip, yeah.
So go to smithradio.com. That's Smith with a Y-S and Y-T-H radio.com. I've revamped and retooled the website. At the top left-hand corner, you will still see a button that says Click Live, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Sunday. Top right-hand corner, you'll see a red button that says iHeart Radio. You can go directly to iHeart and listen to us all the time. In the middle of the page, I redefined it because it was difficult. Some of my feedback was telling me that it was a little confusing. So down the middle of the page, you'll see all the past shows. You can click on the show and listen to everything from archived, and it's right down the middle. On the left-hand side, you'll see Carrie Smith at Smith Radio on Twitter. You'll see the live Twitter feed. Underneath that is my Twitter feed at Brian P. Smith. And then on the right side, that's what I added. I added the new Patreon account button.
Oh, so important. You guys have heard my pitch a million times on this, but...
Subscribe to Patreon, and here's the pitch.
Okay. Oh, you want me to do it?
Hit the pitch. Hit the pitch.
All right.
I need to record that.
That way you just hit it.
And just hit the pitch.
Yeah. So the thing is we've been cut from the cable for many, many years now. And the funny thing is I did it out of financial necessity. But you go through a transformation, and the first stage you go through is, oh my God, I'm cut off from the world. I can't believe this. What am I going to do? Stare at the wall and have to talk to my family members. You know, so that's the first stage.
Right.
And then you're like, well, I can get free entertainment at the library, and I borrowed a lot of DVDs from Brian. I know Brian remembers I'd be rummaging through all this stuff, going through his drawers and everything. It was crazy.
And then I would get them from your brother-in-law, who I don't know how you get. It's my cousin's husband. I don't know what that would connection be to me. In-law, just an in-law.
Cousin-in-law.
Cousin-in-law.
Sure, why not?
And he's got the stack of movies. He's got the library.
He doesn't even have that many, but he's got all the best movies, so it feels like a lot. But anyway, so that's the next stage, and then the stage after that is you start to realize that you're more connected to the world than you thought. Because you could go to places like Smith Radio on Sundays to listen to our show and get caught up on the week, or on a daily basis on all the people that we listen to and watch on YouTube. I mean, I'm not saying you cut the cord for your internet. That's just not even I mean, that's like practically a utility at this point, right? It's
right.
Breaking news. It is a utility, which is kind of strange. I agree with it, but whatever. So you start to realize that being cut off from mainly fake news and having the opportunity to pick out real news on your own using a much more free market system, assuming that you can get through the fact that the people that are running these platforms are very liberal and they do all the shadow banning and all that kind of stuff, you start to realize you have this awakening. You heard of somebody being woke.
Been woke.
Yeah, there's people. So there's, depending on which side of the fence you're on, there's a different definition for woke. My definition of woke is that you realize that you've been lied to. It's like that Matrix, the red pill, you know? This whole time, you've been plugged into a computer program, right?
Right.
And it turns out you've been lied to your whole life. Everything that you thought was real was really just a figment of your imagination that has been put there by talking heads on CNN, in newspapers like the Washington Post and New York Times. And it's just this narrative that has its source mainly in New York Times and Washington Post, but then it gets disseminated and added on by all these places like CNN, MSNBC. And by the time it gets to your head, you think you have a grasp on the world outside of your house when in reality you're literally living a fiction.
Yeah.
That's where we come in. We're the ones giving you the truth. We go to these places. We go to D.C. We look at what's happening, and we tell you exactly what happened, and that's it. And we'll add on to it, and we'll say, well, this is what this means in our mind.
Right. Well, our opinion.
Yeah.
How we see it. But the facts are the facts. The facts don't change. And not only that, our opinions, pretty darn solid.
Well, yeah, because we're not like 20. We've been through life, and we've seen things that we could tap into our memory and say, oh, that doesn't work, or this does work, or oh, you know what, this reminds me of that time that happened 10 years ago.
Right, and our agenda is to get out the truth.
Right. So here's the pitch. You're spending $110, $120, in some places more.
Possible.
Maybe best case scenario, $99 per month on your cable. And what are they really doing? I mean, is it really that entertaining to you? Or is it really such a need in your life to have that kind of entertainment? Knowing that the expense to that is not only the $99 to $120 to $125 a month, or more depending on if you got like all premium, whatever. I know some people pay $150, $160 a month to be entertained, which that's fine. If you got your HBOs and all that, you know, and your Game of Thrones, whatever, all this stuff, that's fine. But the expense is when you go and get your news from your CNNs, your MSNBCs, and all those, the CNN headline news, and guess what? Even local news, those ABCs, NBCs, CBSs are basically getting their main news talking points and stories from those national cable things, who are also just getting them from New York Times, Washington Post, which is the source of all the fake news. Now,
right.
Here's the biggie. This is biggie. Well, Carrie, I don't even listen to or watch CNN on cable. I don't even turn it on. I know it's fake news. I hate those guys. If you pay Time Warner Cable or Spectrum money for cable, you are funding CNN.
And Russia Today. And Russia Today.
I don't know what to think about Russia.
Channel.
I don't know what to think about Russia Today, because they hired Cassandra Fairbanks, and she talked about it. She said, you know what?
Really?
She said they never, ever direct me. In fact, she compared it to some of her previous employers who have altered her articles. They have heavily edited her articles to fit the narrative or fit an agenda of that company. And she had nothing to say about it. She couldn't say a word. Wow. They were paying her to give her an article, and she was not allowed to say, hey, you can't change that around. And they would do it, and she would have to just eat it. Now, Russia Today, they never said, hey, I want this story to sound like this, or it needs to go this way. And then she would turn it in, and they would print it verbatim the way she wrote it. They wouldn't edit it. They wouldn't add. She said entire paragraphs were added when she worked for the company prior to Russia Today.
Wow.
Yeah. She doesn't work for Russia Today now, but at the time, this is what she was saying.
Back in the day.
This is only like 3 months ago?
Oh my God, that's so long. Oh, I was thinking Al Gore's selling his TV network to Al Jazeera.
Right.
You're paying Al Jazeera. They're getting money somewhere.
Yeah, and that's like another step up. We're making the pitch that, look, don't fund CNN because they're fake. And what's wrong with fake news? There's people that we know that are good friends of ours. I think Jack Posobiec's probably one of them, amongst a bunch of other local friends who like to watch WWE. There's nothing wrong with that.
Of course not.
It's not like Jack and others are going around saying, did you see that awesome new wrestler? I think he's the best wrestler in the world. Well, guess what? It's not really wrestling. It's more like fake narrative entertainment type stuff, right?
Right.
Here's the problem. And there's nothing wrong with watching WWE. The problem with doing that same business model for politics is that people are going to watch it and really truly believe it's true. And you end up with people shooting congressmen at baseball games.
Yes.
There's real world consequences. Lives are on the line. And so, yeah, you don't want to fund that. And so when you own, I'm sorry, not own, but when you subscribe to cable, Time Warner, Spectrum, you're bundling in like a lot of networks that you may never, ever, ever watch. And the cable Time Warner doles out a portion of their revenue to each of these channels, including your CNNs and all them. So you're paying for CNN regardless of what you think of them, and they are propagandizing our youth, our adults. They're trying to get people in there who are going to push a socialist agenda. That's the real world consequences. When you pay CNN, you are furthering the cause of communism in America because they're going to lie, cheat, and steal, collude and whatnot with the communists in America to get these people into power so that they could set a real agenda using legislation to turn America into the Union of Soviet Socialists of America, USSA.
Right.
Flat out.
Oh, man.
Flat out. So here, finally, this is my longest-winded pitch ever. Take that money, that $100 a month, just 30 cents a day, just the price of a cup of coffee a day, and pledge that through a Patreon account of somebody that you think is talented and informative, who's not lying to people. And that money, what that money does when you fund these people is it enables them to not only continue what they're doing, but also to expand and maybe even, like, for instance, Brian and I both work jobs in order to bring this show to your interwebs, right?
Right.
If we were to get eventually enough Patreon subscribers, we could then, if we were able to dedicate all of our time to this, the quality would be upgraded substantially, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We would not only be able to do it once a week on Sundays, we do it every single day and possibly an hour a day or maybe more, whatever. I mean, here's a perfect example. Alex Jones is like, turn the cameras on, we're going all day.
He did do like a 6-hour stint, didn't he?
He does like every day practically. Like literally, he just has the cameras rolling every day, all day. He's got a crew of people. And that's because people, he's been doing this for a long, long time. And he's built up a fan base who pledge money to him or buy his supplements and all that. I know he sells the vitamins and all that. So that's what you do. You need to cut the cable. So my point is, it's not even costing you any money. Right?
Right.
We're saving you $100. Saving you $100, and we are going to use that $100 to pick your 10 or 20 favorite people in new media who are telling you the truth. Pledge $5 or $10 per month to those 5 or 10 favorite people. One of them is obviously us because you're listening to us right now. And that's all you need. That's all you need. I think who's that guy? The Rubin Report. Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin gets $1 pledges per month, $5 pledges per month, maybe $10 here and there, and he gets like $30,000 a month. I mean, it'd be nice for us to get $30,000 a month, but we just want to be able to improve and be able to do it more often and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, you don't need to pledge $100 a month or even $20. You give us $1, $5, whatever. We'll get enough of those people, and bam, just like that.
Right, absolutely. I've got the Periscope open on Twitter, so if you're out there on the Twitter sphere, go ahead and follow us at Smith Radio. Also follow me at Brian P. Smith.
I was going to say, is your Periscope Brian P. Smith right now?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if you were on the Smith Radio or
yes. Not. I kind of separated the two of those. But no, absolutely, if you go to smithradio.com, you can see everything that we've got there. We got the Patreon button right there to subscribe. Also, the big thing that I wanted to let you guys know is that our White House correspondent will she has she's been writing. I'm locking up here. She's been writing articles. She's been doing her job, doing everything she can in D.C., and she's working on getting into different venues and hooking up with VIPs, if you will. And she's now writing for us on the Smith Radio blog. If you didn't know there was a Smith Radio blog, there is a Smith Radio blog. It is blog.smithradio.com. If you go to the website, smithradio.com, just look down on the right-hand side of the website. You'll see our White House correspondent. You'll see I created a little box, if you will, and you'll see the feed of the articles running through. You can read those articles right there, or you can click on it. And Shallon has all the things that she's been writing, everything she's been doing. And currently she sat down with Roger Stone, who's a frequent flyer on InfoWars. And Roger Stone and her talked about the deep state, talked about everything that's going on, talked about this supposed peaceful transition of power, which we here on Smith Radio talk about all the time. There has been no transition of power. It is still the same Obama administration, the same deep state that is controlling everything going on right now.
Did you see Roger Stone pointed that out? And I thought that was interesting.
Right. I saw that clip of Roger Stone, and I was going to actually play that sound clip of Roger Stone, but here's the problem.
I mean, it's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
What's that?
Alex Jones loves to talk over everybody.
He does it to everybody.
He had Jack Persobic on, and Jack's talking. He's like, yeah, so what I'm thinking, yeah, I know what you're thinking.
You know what Jack does? Jack keeps talking. It forces Alex to just shut up and let him finish. Now, Mike Cernovich, I was watching his scope, and he's talking, and all of a sudden you hear, just totally getting talked over. So finally I texted him, or put on the chat, I said, tell him to shut up! Anyway, just
so we're talking, I'm just giving everybody a heads up on the new updated website, smithradio.com. Also, you can see there the feed of our Facebook page and all the likes there. I've got some incredible videos about history about Islam. We've got the truth about the Crusades, which is absolutely incredible, by Stefan Molyneux. Just some really good things that are out there for information, food for thought, if you will. Also have Breitbart's RSS feed. So if you want to go and find out Breitbart's latest articles and the things that they're writing about, go to smithradio.com. You can see all Breitbart's news articles, as well as the Drudge Report. You're like, where do I get Matt Drudge? Well, if you go to smithradio.com, you can see Matt Drudge's the articles that he posts and the things that he'll put up, so you can be abreast on those, as well as I put together a very large file. It's a couple of hundred pictures that go from anywhere from making fun of Obama to patriotic pictures to memes, hundreds of them. This one, Carrie, that one.
Oh, wow. We got to watch out for that stuff.
Yeah, all the memes throughout the entire campaign. If you scroll to the bottom of Smith Radio, you can see it. It automatically rolls through. You can see all those incredible memes to make you laugh.
There's got to be hundreds of them.
There are hundreds and hundreds of them.
Well, I know when the Meme Wars launched, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
The gloves were off. It was ugly. So anyway,
absolutely. And if you're following us right now, if you're watching the Periscope.
The pod.
Periscope.
Oh, a podcast.
I'm trying to keep together. If you're watching us on Periscope right now at Brian P. Smith, the sound bites that we'll play, you won't hear. So apologize for that if you're watching on Periscope. But if you are on Periscope, switch over to smithradio.info. That'll take you directly to the live cast, so you'll know exactly what's going on. You can actually join in the message board where we have the usual suspects, if you will.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun there.
On the message board, creating conversations and questions and
it's
really
like a party.
It is.
It ends up being a party.
and then we'll get a chance and look at that and respond to some of those things as well. And as you can see, the title of the show. We did a show, it feels like almost last year, called Russia, Russia, Russia. And if you go to the Google and you type in Russia, 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 Smith Radio, that episode, that show that we did will come up. One of the best shows that we've done exposing Russia, the Russian backstory, this whole fake narrative, fake news media. And today we're talking about fake news reviving Russiagate. Fake news. It got nothing else. They got absolutely nothing else. And they're doing everything they can to revive Russia, 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 if you will.
I am totally disabled here.
Right. And so, and so we are here to expose the Russia, Russia, Russiagate. And here, just to give you a little tidbit, is the mainstream media montage of what they were told to say for this week on Don Jr.
Our breaking news, Donald Trump's oldest son has told CNN he, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and then campaign manager, Chairman Paul Manafort, met with a Russian lawyer last year. You write, this is treason. He must have known that the only way Russia would get such information was by spying.
This is illegal, and I think that this is treason.
We're now beyond obstruction of justice in terms of what's being investigated. This is moving into perjury, false statements, and even into potentially treason.
Well, as I've said many times in the past, there's another shoe that will drop, and there will be other shoes that will drop.
John
Treason is a
McCain.
very tight statute.
You know
the
it's not
FEC
treason.
laws are about solicitation.
But Chris, you're a smart guy. You know this isn't treason.
Well,
I mean, when that came out yesterday,
it's
that
not
was
my
absurd.
call.
Allegedly, Donald Trump Jr. tweeted to everyone, in order to be totally transparent, I am releasing the entire email chain of my emails with Rob Goldstone about the meeting on June 9, 2016. So
I confirm that this is real. How do they do that?
I don't know.
We need Donald Trump Jr. and other campaign associates to turn over any and all documents and electronic communications that investigators ask for. So Congress should step up and say, President Trump, if you're not going to punish Russia for meddling with our democracy, we will.
Definitely, he has to testify. That email is disturbing.
This week's new issue of Time magazine is entitled Donald Trump Jr. Red-Handed, the Russia Scandal Hits Home.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Something ain't right here.
Yes, and that is true. Something ain't right here. That was for, and I give credit to InfoWars for that montage and the sound in the background. But that's we're talking about John McCain. We're talking about F. Chuck Todd. We're talking about Tim Kaine was in there too. Tim Kaine,
the former VP candidate.
Right, the meme that went out. A picture of Tim Kaine with his head in his hand. That feeling you get when Hillary taps you to be her VP, and it's just
Well, if you know, I'm not going to sit there and blame Hillary for his demise. This guy's a total communist.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Well, she thought she would garner the votes of communists by tapping him.
Well, you could blame her, because if he had not gotten so much publicity, then nobody would have known how much of a commie he was. So
Right.
really, you could blame her.
Okay, so the big thing this week is that now MSNBC, CBS, ABC, Washington. I've got Washington Post fake news. New York Times is in the fake news again this week. It is just out of control with fake news. And the big thing this week is the Don Jr. had collusions with Russian lawyer. We talked about this a little bit last week and kind of exposed it a little bit, but they don't want to let it go, and I just want to give you a heads up. Here's the Russian lawyer. I have a difficult time pronouncing her name, so I just won't even get into it. But we'll just it is what it is. She and her firm that claims that she's a lawyer for, has no email address, no website, and no actual working phone number. She has deep ties to the Clintons, deep ties to Obama, and she's posted. She posted a picture on Twitter inside John McCain's office, hanging out with John McCain and F. Chuck Todd. Come on, man! What are we talking about here? Loretta Lynch let her in the country without a visa. She also has ties to Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS is credited, if you will, for coming up with the Golden Showergate dossier. Her social media is full of anti-Trump pictures. She's been seen at anti-Trump rallies. She posts anti-Trump memes pushing the Russian narrative. Have you ever seen the memes where Trump and Putin are together and then it's just some kind of funny meme? That kind of stuff is all over her Facebook, her Twitter account. And I, as life and irony would have it, Carrie,
what?
We're able to find her,
sorry,
and all her stuff, yet we can't find the 15-year-old kid that made the Donald Trump.
Well, they're saying that it was a middle-aged man. Who was it, Cuomo or somebody? Said, no, it's a middle-aged man.
Okay.
So, may not be 15.
But nobody can find anything on him. He's nowhere on the internet. Nowhere to be found. Can't find any of that stuff. Yet this lawyer is all over the place.
Well, we're the first one. Do you have a soundbite?
I do.
Okay. Well, I was going to say this. Smith Radio was the first people to point out that might have been a complete hoax that started the meme war that the person involved in. I had a whole Periscope on it. It's more than week-old stuff, but I just wanted to point out that we were the first ones to float that theory that this person could possibly either not exist. But then when I started doing research, we found out that he was this. We're talking about the guy that made the wrestling meme, right?
Yes.
That he could. It seems like he does exist because he was a real user. Han A-hole Solo was a real user on Reddit, and because of all the circumstances surrounding what happened to him by K-File, that it's possible that him and K-File are either friends or acquaintances, colleagues, whatever, and or was some sort of a Democrat operative that was sent to K-File in order for this all to go down the way it was. So the whole thing may have been a big giant conspiracy. And what we found with Russiagate this week, that kind of lends credence to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Because what happened with Russiagate this week? So I'm in the hospital last week with, by the way, thank you all so much for all the well wishes and the prayers, because I may sound really healthy. And for those of you that watched me on Your Voice the other day, last Thursday, you guys were like, wow, you look remarkably healthy. I mean, I made a pretty remarkable recovery. I was letting family members know that I love them just in case, so thank you all. So I'm in the hospital, and one thing that was kind of interesting about being stuck in my hotel bed was that the only thing I had my phone, and I had CNN on nonstop. So Saturday evening rolls around, and I'm noticing, what are they talking about Rush again? Didn't we just have Project Veritas chop the head off, put a oak stake into the heart of, and then a silver bullet into the decapitated head of Russiagate? Didn't it seem like that?
Yes.
And then they put it in a garlic bathtub with holy water, like they did.
It sizzled. It was like
sizzled. It exploded.
Yeah, it was like throwing it was exponentially worse than throwing the water on the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, way worse. Yeah. So, wow. And I'll tell you what. Before the show, we were joking about what this Russiagate thing reminds me of. It's the Terminator.
Yes, we were joking.
The 1984 version of Terminator. They spent this whole entire time trying to kill the Terminator.
Right.
And, of course, he's pretty much indestructible, right?
Right.
And at the very end, with him trapped inside of the cab of a tanker truck, they blow him up. The whole tanker truck full of gasoline and everything. Giant explosion, fire everywhere, and explosions everywhere. And Sarah Connor and Kyle, whatever his name was, they were hugging each other and thank God this is over. And then they start playing the peaceful music while the fire is sizzling and flaming really out of control in the background, and it seemed like it's all over. Cue credits, right?
Right. Cue the credits. Cue the credits.
You see start to get up out of your seat when you're at the theater. Like, oh, I guess this is it. Let's try to beat the crowd. And all of a sudden, bah, you hear the music hit, and then you see the rustling of the metal in the middle of the fire, and sure enough, the red hot metal skeleton of the Terminator stands up and starts coming after Sarah Connor. Why? Because he really is indestructible, resurrected, and that's why I feel like this Russiagate is like it was dead. We're all hugging each other like, we finally defeated fake news with this fake story that was just so annoying. It's treasonous the way they're trying to usurp the democratic process of a peaceful transition of power here in America that our great founding fathers have put together in order to prevent the humanity from being subject to the kind of tyranny that we've been subject to ever since civilization began. So, that's your miracle of American government. And the left, almost, they're really, really close after 8 years of Obama and everything. They're really, really close to just ending it. And that's why we started the show.
Right. That's exactly why we started the show.
And guess what? We finally killed it. Nope. Came resurrecting back. So what happened was we had James O'Keefe come out with the death knell, the death blow of fake news.
Nothing burger.
The nothing burger, that was Van Jones. He called it a nothing burger. The other CNN producer said it's BS, and they used the real words, but we're not going to use that family-friendly show here. And said it was all BS, no evidence of it, no real evidence of it, and that they're only doing it for revenue. Because it's ratings, man. It's ratings.
Oh, yeah. He kept saying, our ratings have been the best. Look at all this money coming in. The revenue stream is huge.
Yeah, and then the last tape that came out was basically a guy trying to hit on a girl at a bar. He was trying to use, what he knew about CNN and how it was all fake. That, try to pick up whatever undercover agent James O'Keefe had in there that he was hitting on. And, seemed like that was it for CNN until I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I feel a little bit like Donald Trump was trying to steal the credit for clotheslining CNN when really it was James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe pretty much ended CNN, and then Donald Trump posts that meme, which whatever. I don't think it was... He didn't make the meme, okay? Somebody else made the meme.
Right. If somebody were to come up with the meme of James O'Keefe doing it, then
Well, it would have been more accurate, right?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as funny, man. These are just
right.
Jokes and laughter have an element of truth.
Okay. So and no doubt.
And we all love watching Donald Trump pummeling
CNN.
Just on top of CNN and just wailing, because we all feel like we all want to do it, and he's doing it for us.
I think what would have been a perfect meme is if you had him Donald Trump clotheslining CNN, and then James O'Keefe hitting it with a chair, one of those metal folding chairs.
Yeah,
that would have been the most accurate, I think. So anyway, so that's what happened, and we were thinking. Oh, wow, CNN is in trouble. They're done. How are they going to survive this? That's when K-File went after the supposed creator of the meme and try to say, look at this guy, he's a racist. He's come out with all these memes that have Nazis and anti-Semitic slurs and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I'm like, this sounds like a Democrat operative, if you ask me. So we think it's really dead because the meme wars happened. So now it's not just James O'Keefe. It's not just Donald Trump with the clothesline.
Yeah.
Now the entire interwebs comes to the front lines and starts destroying CNN.
Jake Tapper, I was in on it.
Blackmailgate.
I was all over the meme wars. I mean, I was even blasting Keith Olbermann. I know nobody has anything to do with that knucklehead, that psycho, but for some reason, it's too easy to take pop shots at that. I mean, literally, when you see somebody so mentally sick, it's not hard. So it's low-lying fruit for me, but the meme wars were so... My daughters came to me this morning before we went to church. I was sitting there on Twitter, and my daughters came up to me, hey, Daddy, can we watch those memes again?
Oh, they were into it?
Yeah, so I play there's one that's just incredible. It's like 5-minute meme montage.
Right.
And it's just so much fun to watch.
I came up with an idea for a meme or a video today. Copyright Smith Radio. But anybody, if you guys want to make this out there, I really don't feel like I have the time to try to put something like this together, but I would love to see this. So I decided out of boredom last week to watch Shawshank Redemption.
Whoa. We cannot discuss that on Family Friendly.
Oh, no, not that part.
Oh, okay.
So... Oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking
you hit rewind.
Make a meme out of sisters. No. I'm gonna open my mouth. Wait, no. You're gonna open your mouth, and you're gonna whatever.
Right.
So anyway, Family Friendly show. So no, the very beginning of the show the movie is when Morgan Freeman is in front of the board. And he has to explain to them why he should be paroled.
Yeah.
And he's been in there for like 20, 25 years.
The longest. He's one of the longest running guys in there.
Yeah, because they showed a picture of him in his original mugshot.
As a Ute.
Looked like he was 17 years old.
Right.
Now you look at him, he's like kind of older or whatever. Not as old as he is now, but in the 90s. And he's giving his speech. He's really, really... kind of saying what he thinks he needs to say, but you could hear it in his attitude that he knows he's going to get rejected, that he's been through this a lot. And then all of a sudden, cut to the paper, stamp hits the paper, they pull it up, and it says rejected.
Right.
And then he goes on to talk to his friends about it. He's like, yep, got rejected. Oh, they said, how'd it go? Same as always. And he's like, oh, that's okay. I'm up for rejection next week. So here's my idea for a video. Redo that whole thing, and instead of using his voice, replace it with like a voice actor. Hopefully, somebody that sounds like Morgan Freeman.
Right.
Giving the pitch to Twitter to get verified.
Nice.
And he would say, well, I'm on this show, and I've been doing this in media. I'm a journalist, and I have all this material, 4 years of material built up. I have all this stuff. And then rejected, right? And then go out to the yard and I'm up for rejection next week, and kind of replace. I mean, you could even replace their heads with like all the other people that should be. How is James O'Keefe not verified?
He made the comment a long time ago saying that he is working at trying to have the largest following without being verified.
Oh, so now he's not even trying to get verified.
No, he wants to prove a point that I will have the largest following and be unverified.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's just now his employee that's been working for him for probably quite a few years. As soon as she quit Project Veritas, within a month of leaving Project Veritas, Laura Loomer got verified. That was just his employee. She was the one that answered the phone when you called Project Veritas.
Right. That's insane. It's insane.
That just goes to show you there's a little bit of vindictiveness here.
So check this out. Mike Cernovich, he has his Cernovich plastered on this this video that I caught the audio for, but it's not Mike's voice, but Mike is putting it out there, so maybe he put it together.
Oh, you talking about his new media stuff that he's doing?
No, this was just a clip on the side that exposes the Russian lawyer. It's 2 minutes long, but it gives a lot of great detail on the Russian lawyer and kind of some backstory on what's going on with her.
Yeah, it's that Cernovich media thing that he's doing.
Did you see that? Okay.
Well, he comes out with 2-minute videos regularly now, which I think is a good idea on his part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is the one that he put out about detailing the details of the fake Russian lawyer.
In the media's most recent Russian fetish involving Donald Trump Jr. and Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya.
Is it me, or is it kind of funny how he says the media's recent Russian fetish?
Because why?
The media's most recent Russian fetish involving Donald Trump Jr. and Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya. Yesterday, Trump Jr. released an email exchange on Twitter between himself and the Russian lawyer. The exchange revealed that Veselnitskaya offered to meet Trump Jr. and perhaps had incriminating evidence on Hillary Clinton. The meeting ended up going nowhere, and instead they ended up talking about U.S.-Russian adoptions. Which makes you wonder, why did she want to meet in the first place? A closer look at the Russian lawyer, Natalia Veselnitskaya, makes their meeting seem suspicious for a completely different reason. It would seem that Veselnitskaya has ties to Hillary Clinton, the Obama administration, Fusion GPS, the organization behind the infamously fake Trump dossier, and never-Trumpers like John McCain. A quick search of her social media shows that she's attended anti-Trump rallies in Chicago.
Yep.
Why is someone who was attending anti-Trump rallies just a few months prior trying to get him elected? In fact, her social media accounts show that she is very anti-Trump and promoting the Russian collusion fairy tale whenever possible, which is weird if she's one of the people Trump is supposedly colluding with. If you do some more digging, it turns out that Natalia was in the U.S. with an expired visa, hanging out with the Obama administration in Senate hearings. That's right, here she is with Obama's ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, in a Foreign Affairs Committee hearing just 8 days after the meeting with Trump Jr. at Trump Tower.
Okay, hit pause for a minute.
Unbelievable.
As the video goes, they post the picture, the screenshot. It's like a C-SPAN is in the hearing, and somebody screenshotted C-SPAN, and in the background behind the person at the, you know how they have the guy sitting at the desk with a cup of water and the microphone jammed in his face. Right behind him is this Russian lawyer sitting in a seat. And she's sitting right next to the other Obama admin people. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Producer, any day.
What's more, she worked as a lawyer for Previson Holdings, which also had Fusion GPS on the payroll, the same firm behind the fake Trump dossier. So we have a woman who hangs out with the Obama administration and never-Trumpers like John McCain, who protest against Trump while here on an expired visa, call up Trump Jr. out of nowhere using spooky language and offering dirt on Hillary Clinton, only to not deliver and talk about Russian adoptions instead. Then fly to Washington, D.C., hang out with Obama administration officials right before Obama asked the FISA courts to let him spy on Trump Tower. It just doesn't add up.
I mean, seriously, what are we talking about here? And now we got this week, Catherine Herriage on Fox News. And I tell you what, she is something very special. If you don't know her, you definitely need to get a hold of her clips. I don't believe that she's on Twitter, but she is the one of the White House foreign correspondents for Fox News. Catherine Herriage, Herriage, Herriage.
Okay,
and she exposed Senator John McCain behind the Russian dossier. Admits he obtained the phony document and gave it to Comey.
Really?
John McCain.
He admits this.
That's what she reported on Fox News. And she is, when I say she is solid, folks, she is so solid that when she talks, people are like, oh, okay. There's like no emotion. She's very solid, very to the point. incredible. So John McCain, now the exposing himself as a traitor that he is, go all the way back to his days. He had to be pardoned from the current sitting president. Otherwise, he was going to prison for a long time. And this year marks his 30th year that John McCain has been a senator. A senator. 30-year senator. People were posting on Twitter from Arizona saying we have been hijacked in Arizona. We cannot get rid of John McCain. Will not happen. Here's why it won't happen. 1, they'll never elect a Democrat. And 2, the Republicans dumped too much money on John McCain's campaign run when she was a doctor that ran against John McCain.
You talking about Kelly Ward? Kelly Ward ran against is trying to primary.
Was it Kelly Ward? Okay.
Kelli.
Yeah, trying to primary John McCain.
She's going to go for it again.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be really, really close.
We met her at CPAC.
And it wasn't bad. I also got Paul Nealon up in Wisconsin trying to get rid of the despicable... And the audio just came out again. More audio on Paul Ryan hating on Trump. I will never support Trump. I want nothing to do with Trump. He'll never get my cooperation.
Oh, God.
So we got Paul Ryan and we got John McCain, just despicable
and
human beings.
They're so senior. One of them's the Speaker of the House.
Who had to be bribed to be... Did you hear about this, folks?
Yeah, this was... unless you're new to politics, you would know.
And that's okay. I'm throwing this out there for... See, my wife tells me... My wife tells me, I love it when you guys... Explain things. So those of you who listen to us for a long time...
Explain it to you.
But if you've been listening to us for a long time, you know that we say some of these things over and over again. And that's because we get new audience. Where the audience is really growing.
Yeah, please don't say, you know what, I don't like Carrie and Brian because they're just too repetitive. Guys, you gotta indulge us because there's going to be new listeners and also people that are not so new in politics. And I don't want to be one of those people that's like inside politics and we're just totally high level and you have to really know what's going on to even be able to follow it. I don't want to be like that. And we were never like that. From day one, we would explain ideologies. But anyway, so here's what happened with Paul Ryan. They needed a new Speaker of the House. And they were thinking, who should it be? Who could it be? That was when Newt Gingrich, who's not even a congressman, he's pretty much retired. He doesn't have a position or anything like that. They were thinking, well, we could have him be the Speaker of the House, even though he's not one of the congressmen. And I didn't know that was even allowed. But that was a discussion at the time that make Newt Gingrich the next Speaker of the House. Which, do you realize right now, this was back long before anybody even thought that there was ever going to be a Trump.
Okay.
At all. He wasn't running. This is long before he was even running. Who's going to be the new Speaker of the House? And man, could you imagine if Newt Gingrich ended up getting it, what things would be like today?
That would be crazy.
There would be so much getting done. But anyway, it ended up being that everybody's like, come on, man, let's make Paul Ryan. Why? Does he look more than 18, 19 years old? No.
We'll make him grow a beard.
That's what he did. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. They're like, man, I look like I'm 12. What can I do about this? Why don't you grow a beard?
And the thing with him attempting to grow a beard, and don't get me wrong, I grew a beard for the first time.
I mean, he's got that Greek look. Even though he looks like a boy, he also has the dark. He looks like if he didn't shave for about 24 hours, you'd have the full shadow.
But the problem, and I grew a beard for the first time ever last winter. And if you see my picture from the meetings that we had down there in D.C., I had the beard on. I don't have the beard now. But for the first month of the beard, you look like a homeless person. You look disheveled.
Like yeah, it looks like you've ran out of money to buy.
But he looked disheveled almost the entire time. He looked dirty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
like the dirt was oozing out of it. The dirt that's in him now currently was oozing out of his face.
I guess, yeah. I guess he could. That would happen in his case. It's like a swamp, right?
Right. The swamp is oozing out.
Oh, he had swamp face.
Swamp face. So John McCain, I know he's a war veteran and he was POW and mentally scarred and issues, but I can't. I'm sorry, folks. Everybody has a God-given gift.
Okay.
And it's tragic for the Union that John McCain's God-given gift is lying, cheating, stealing, and making deals with the devil. It's just unfortunate for us.
Yeah. I've said this a bunch of times, both publicly and privately. I feel like John McCain is heavily compromised.
Well, yeah, and they're
heavily
on the message board. If you're listening to Smith Radio, and if you want to be a part of the show, you can join the message board that's going on right now. Sam Keels is talking about throwing out the healthcare thing and some odds and ends because we're talking about John McCain.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happened this week. Healthcare is definitely going to be covered.
And we're kind of wrapping up. We're talking about the whole Russia fake news, Russiagate with Don Trump, Don Jr.
Yeah, and like we air every Sunday, and even though the New York Times fake article that came out that resurrected the cadaver known as Russiagate happened. It was late Saturday night, all day Sunday. CNN covered it. I can't even remember because remember I was all drugged up.
Right.
I was super drugged up when Brian went on last week.
Hopped up on morphine.
Big time. Like they were doing double shots because
he was. So if you think, that's weird what Carrie's Carrie was on the message board. And I was. That's so weird. And Carrie's like he'd wake up and he'd like, it's still on. It's still. I got more.
I literally was
more.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This happened about 5 times during Brian's very short show. It was like an hour. I would start to text something and I'd type it in. And then all of a sudden I'd wake up and look down and I was halfway through
the text.
I woke up and I'm halfway through and I'm like, I got to get this done. So I was like kind of going in and out of consciousness the entire show. But that happened like 3 or 4 times where I halfway. But anyway,
so we're talking about Russiagate and kind of exposing where that's coming from, why that's coming about. If you want to be a part of the message board, be a part of the show, go to smithradio.info, take you directly to Spreaker. You'll see the live word LIVE. Just click on that link of the title of the show. It'll open up the message board and you'll see everything. We brought up John McCain because he is the traitor that he is, the dirtbag that he is.
Right.
Needs to be 30 years. Senators and congressmen and politicians were never meant to be career you went there unpaid to support your country and then you went back home. So Sam Keels, who's on the message board, made the comment about health care. You're a friend of mine. Not really. There's some sarcasm in there. Mitch McConnell.
Acting all friendly all of a sudden.
Acting all friendly. Now puts on hold. The Republicans currently right now have a majority of votes to pass the health care that they're putting together. And John McCain all of a sudden gets a blood clot at the top of his eye or under his eye. He's in the hospital.
So he can't tell whether or not to check yay or nay.
No.
Because his blood clots making that hard to see.
Right. So he had some surgeries and they put a new chip in his Terminator brain. Because he is a bot. I mean, literally, he is a bot.
I mean, that's why he's all stiff. It's because it's like old hardware.
It's the old version bot, not the newer one that they have that's smoother running.
1.0.3 or something like that.
Instead of having him made in Japan with the high-end circuits and things like that, they went to China. And so you get
and they use the cheap metal.
Yeah.
Cheap metal. That's why it's like, it's not very smooth.
So Mitch McConnell...
He reminds me of one of the animals at Chuck E. Cheese. You know it!
From the 1980s.
Oh, 70s probably. Late 70s, early 80s. You know, where they move and then they kind of rock back and forth a little bit because they don't stop real smooth.
And the whole stage is shaking because they're so heavy.
Right, they're so heavy they had to be forklifted into place.
About to fall over. So Mitch McConnell halts the vote for the health care.
Because of the one vote.
Well, they're no Democrats voting for it.
Right.
And there's a handful of Republicans not voting for it.
Is it 52-48?
Yes, it's 52-48. And so they gotta resurrect the bot that is John McCain, get him back up on the floor.
Once they're done tinkering with the hardware.
Put the nuts back in. And, you know, here's my take on this real quick, and I'm going to get back to the Russiagate. Just a pause on Russiagate right now.
We're going to be all over the place for you. That's our
copyright Smith Radio.
All right. So what is it? What's the problem?
Fake news, Washington Post, ABC poll says that overwhelmingly conservative majority wants to keep Obamacare. Over like 48%, overwhelmingly, and only like 10% want the new thing Trump's got coming. That's the fake news you didn't get.
That's not even believable. If you're going to do fake news, at least make it believable. That's not even believable.
It is.
They're preaching to the choir. Only people who are so brain dead that they would consider themselves a progressive or Democrat voter would even say, wow, man, right on, man. Conservatives are with us. Nice. We got some piano going around in the background.
That's an ABC Washington Post poll.
You got to start with the muted. Nice.
It's gone now. So trying to get numbers, but that's about what the poll was saying, and it's just so frustrating to see these fake news, fake polls. They got it all wrong before, and they're getting it wrong again. They're doing it on purpose. Here's the deal. Republicans, you rhinos, all of you out there right now, you've got the House, you've got the Senate, you've got the presidency, you've got the ability. Not only do you have the House and the Senate and the executive branch, you've got the ability currently, right now, to lock this up and lock it down. If you do not do your job and lock this down, it is going to be so sad because you will lose 2018. You will lose your seats. You will be ousted. People will be so angry at you. The patriots, the conservatives, they're going to go into their tirade and their rants, and they're going to be like, oh, well, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm not voting, or I'm going to vote Democrat. They're going to teach you a lesson. And I know you don't care. But you will care when you lose your job and when you're ousted and you don't come back to Congress, you don't come back to the Senate. You all are the ones that are fighting Trump and Trump's agenda. Trump it's amazing he's able to get anything done. Trump is still currently fighting the news media. He's fighting the Democrats. He's fighting the Republicans. He's fighting the media war that's out there. He's fighting everybody.
I don't think they care. I really don't. I don't think they believe you if you told them you're going to get primaried. Oh, you want to hear the rant?
Oh, the Bill Mitchell rant. Bill Mitchell had his take on this thing, and I think it was like 2 minutes long.
No, it's 1 minute.
1 minute long.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get the volume, because remember I lost my keyboard.
Right.
And I don't even remember how to get the volume anymore.
So the Washington Post ABC poll came out this week slamming Trump and bashing him, claiming that the numbers weren't what the numbers were. And it is just absolutely awful. The percentage of votes that polled, this was the poll for approval ratings. And they came out, this whole article came out showing that he has the lowest approval rating of any sitting president at this time going back 70 years. And this is how it reads. Cursory review of the poll shows that it's totally slanted. The percentage of the voters polled included, listen to this, included 35% Democrat, 35% independent, 7% who said they weren't either independent or Democrat, and only 23 that said they were Republican. The poll included less than 25% Republicans. How is that possible that you could even do a poll with a quarter of the poll less than a quarter of the poll being Republicans?
Yeah, they had a D plus 12 on that poll. And, of course, they initially don't tell you that what the breakdown is. And it's a trick. It's a mathematical trick that pollsters use, especially if you're a propagandist like a CNN, a Washington Post, and they use these polls. And here's what's worse. This morning, Bill Mitchell, in a tweet, called out that it was a D plus 12.
Right.
That particular. Washington Post subsequently came out with a breakdown showing it D plus 7. So they lied about their own polls demographics.
Right.
And Bill called them out on that. But
wow. Well, hold on. Just real quick. This is by Jim Hoff. Jim Hoff posts this on the gatewaypundit.com. If you don't have the Gateway Pundit on a tab on somewhere on your browser, you must have that. So Jim Hoff is exposing all this, and he says if the poll was corrected by 8 to 12 points to show actual Republican support in this country, USA, Trump would be at a 50% approval or higher rating. And as we know, ABC Washington Post poll 2 weeks before the election, Hillary 50, Trump 38. Good night now.
Same place.
Same people.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you their credibility right there. So
Vanessa says, OMG, I hate math.
I actually love math, which has really gotten, we're able to report this kind of stuff because we see it. And, I was that kid in class, in first grade when they were teaching subtraction or multiplication or whatever. And the teacher would say, so does anybody know the answer to this? And I would be in the back jumping up and down with my hand up in the air, like just squirming. And
you answered the last hour and a half, Carrie. You're the only one answering, Carrie. We got to give somebody else a try.
That's what they would say to me every time. And I'd be so mad. Oh, and of course my parents never recognized this stuff. And if they did, they probably would have considered putting me in a
no grudges held here. Personal responsibility.
Mad.
We only control one thing.
I'm in first grade. How do I
control yourself?
Oh my
Control yourself.
Anyway, so the big thing about healthcare is Congress, in this week, senators have to pull the trigger. They have to make this happen. They have to put the bill to a vote. They have to come together and make the vote. And they really don't want to do this. They don't want to have to say that their fingerprints are on it because they don't know and don't care the kind of suffering that we're doing. I was in the hospital last week, and let me tell you something. I cried when one of our fans, one of our listeners, reached out to me in a DM and said, I work for the VA. They should pay for this because you were in the military. I didn't know. I literally didn't know.
And if you think Carrie's the only one that didn't know, I didn't know either. And my brother, who currently goes to the VA all the time because it's surgery on his knees, he didn't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That veterans, if you know a veteran, spread the word around. If you are injured and have to go to the ER, the VA pays for the ER.
Yeah, and so I was waiting to go to the hospital because I knew without any coverage and without any I was hoping it passed. I was hoping that I would start to improve so I didn't have to go to the hospital. And then I started thinking, well, I could go to the VA. I've never been to the VA before. I've heard all these horror stories. But I was so scared to death I would go there and I'd be waiting in the waiting room for 5 hours before somebody called on me, which is actually very typical. You could ask anybody that's been to the VA. I haven't been there myself, but they all say it. They say it's a whole day affair. It takes 14 hours to get in and out of that place. 14 hours. And I had the worst pain you've ever felt in your life. I mean, I really felt like I was going to die. So I go in there knowing in my head full well that within the next year, I'm going to be standing in front of a judge. I don't know what they call it, a magistrate or a referee. No, for a bankruptcy. Seriously, I go in there.
Hold on, I keep telling people, if that happened to me and I had $1 million health bill, you know what I'd do? I'd say get in line.
Well, no, but eventually, I mean, I don't know what they do to you.
They don't. There is no debtor's prison. No more.
That's true.
No longer is there a debtor's prison, and unless they're the IRS, unless they're the IRS.
Wesley Snipes knows.
Wesley Snipes knows. So does Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
You know what happened to Willie Nelson?
No, well, I mean the tax evasion, right?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you know, unless it's the IRS, they can nothing they can do. Nothing.
I don't know. All I know.
And if you have a parent that passes away and their debtors come calling for you,
say I don't know.
Tell them to go
who
to
that person is.
Go to tell them go to hell.
That person's dead to me because they really are dead to me.
Go to hell.
No, but yeah. So I really was kind of doing that what is that, the Green Mile, the walk, like you're going to.
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital laying there, and they show up and they're like, so do you have insurance? Are you uninsured? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And it was just so humiliating. And I'm like tweeting out, oh my gosh, pray for me. I'm in the hospital with no insurance. And then I got this wave of support and love, and somebody told me to call them and said, give me a call. I work for VA. I'm telling you, you're all right.
You're good to go.
I literally just I started crying. I don't cry. I don't ever cry. You never see, but I might have been a lot of pain.
I've got to vouch for this. I'm a kind of guy I get a little, like if I tell a story,
I seen you cry.
Yeah, I'll get a little choked up, a little verklempt, get a little watery eye. I'm watery. I'm easily watery. I am no Glenn Beck.
No, Glenn Beck is a method actor.
Right. And I'll get verklempt and a little choked up, and it adds to the old sentimental value of the story. And Carrie's looking at me dead straight. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he died too. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
Dog died.
Yeah, I'm a little
Everybody dead.
But yeah, I got emotional when people were really supporting me. I was like, I've never been loved before. You like me. You really, really like me. I wasn't that silly, but no, but I really felt like I was going to be in this life-altering ordeal that 20 years from now I'll be looking back like, don't ever let that happen to you people. You know, like that. So
he's got a wooden peg leg.
This is my point.
It's limping around.
My point is that there's real people suffering out there, and they're treating this like it's a damn political football. And so when it comes down to deciding whether or not, if you're a senator, if you're a congressman, or anybody else whose hand is going to be, who's actually has a real role in ending the suffering of the people who have to live under Obamacare, this is the message Bill Mitchell has for you guys.
This is a moment in history that will look back that either the Republican Party became dominant for a generation or the Republican Party died. I'm telling you, it is that serious. And for those of you who are saying it must be perfect, it must be, I will look at you. If they don't get this done because it must be work, I will look at you in 2018 when we lose, and I will point my finger at you and I say, this is on you. You did this. We had a chance to MAGA. We had a chance to win America back. We had a chance to support our President Donald Trump, and you stood against him. You stood with the Democrats, and you made us lose, and you destroyed this country. And you can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. That's how I feel. I'm not kidding. I'm very serious about this.
A lot of people
I'm very
agree.
serious. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think that this is how it's going to turn out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
time to MAGA, folks.
Yeah,
Time to MAGA. We've got to stay connected with each other and let everybody know who these dirty deeds, who the dirty ones are. We've got to keep screaming. John McCain's, the Lindsey Grahams, the Paul Ryans, the Mitch McConnells of the world. All these dirty shills. They're taking the money. They're being paid. There are photos out there of John McCain hanging out with ISIS, Al-Qaeda. He's taken the money. He's given them money. He was involved in all of that with Obama, giving all that away. I mean, we're just talking about the most rotten and the most rotten.
And they're so disconnected from the fact that this is causing real people, real adults, real Americans, real citizens, real voters, it's causing them suffering, you know, and they are these people that, but it's going to cause 23 million people to be uninsured. What do you mean? Are these 23 million people that were forced onto Obamacare unwillingly and they're going to lose? You know how many millions of people had to have lost their health care due to Obamacare? When I originally, the very first time I ever told the story, of the process of me losing my health care because of Obamacare, I had a bunch of people reach out to me and say, wow, you sounded like me on the show tonight. Man, I'm telling you, I've never really said it to anybody before, but exact same thing happened to me. I got to a point where I had to make the smartest decision possible. You know, a lot of people look down during the housing crisis. When the housing crisis happened, there were people who bought into these investment properties who decided that the best thing to do for themselves and their future is to do a strategic default.
Walk away.
Walk away. And these are people who could actually afford to not default. But they did default because they thought, well, okay, this is going to hurt my credit for 7 years. And here's the problem. I will be further ahead of the game in 7 years than I will be if I stick with this. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, what about personal responsibility? Well, where's the responsibility for the people who agreed to give somebody that kind of a loan for something during a bubble and not having recognized it? And where's the responsibility for the Democrats who came up with all these crazy-ass laws that enabled the bubble to happen in the first place? Where's their responsibility?
Right.
So at the end of the day, people should be allowed to do what's best for them. And there's millions of people that I feel decided that it was best for them in the long run to go ahead and save the money that they'll never see again, paying for insurance that's way too expensive, that has a deductible so high they're almost not going to be able to use the health care at all, and their monthly payment makes it impossible for them to save up for the deductible. At the end of the day, you're going to have to file for bankruptcy anyway.
When I got laid off earlier this year, they sent me Cobra, which is a supplemental insurance policy if you want to get it.
Okay.
I think it was like $4,000 a month with a $10,000 deductible.
That's ridiculous.
It was so high and so insane that I had to laugh. And Kekistan Rose on the message board tonight said, don't get confused between health insurance and health care.
Right.
And agree 100%.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got Congress and the Senate wielding power over 300 million Americans, holding our health is in their hands and should never be. Not only should it never be, and not only do they never get anything right, here's Kellyanne Conway this week on Fox, and if you didn't hear about this story, it's going to be exposed and it's going to blow your mind.
Yesterday, Attorney General Sessions and Secretary of Health and Human Services Tom Price announced the largest, let me get this right, the largest Medicare fraud investigation and reveal bust, really, in our nation's history. And, these practitioners, a lot of people in trouble, over $1 billion in fraud, and they went in protection of our consumers, of Americans, and they're busting up these people, these healthcare professionals who have violated their Hippocratic oath and put greed in front of the patients. You see actions like this, and you realize that we're trying to protect patients and Americans through better healthcare reform, but also by busting up the fraud and abuse in the system.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's why that's able to happen. Because the government slush fund of money, robbing and stealing from the people, redistributing it to healthcare industries, healthcare companies, set your own your own health insurance company up, set the company up, siphon the money off, just like they did with Solyndra, just like they did with all the solar power panels back in the day with Obama. The $1 billion of money, all you got to do is just set it up, make it look real, and start sucking the money out. $1.3 billion fraud, 400 practitioners being caught up in this fraud case of $1.3 billion.
I had a customer, this is probably about 5-10 years ago, whose neighbor was involved in creating medical supplies or reselling medical supplies to using a government program. And they just completely frauded the hell out of the U.S. government for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for years and years, until finally somebody did an audit and they ended up getting busted. But they were the unlucky one. There's lots of people out there.
Who's the other ones who siphon it off, funnel the money out, do something else with it? And I'll tell you what.
And you know what? They never get that money back. That person probably spent some time in prison. But where's the millions of dollars? They're never going to get that back.
No, and I'll tell you what. I mean, there's a lot of things that I know that you can do with corporations. You can set things up. You can move things legitimately and legally. You can do so much fraud. It's unbelievable, and get away with it. And if you shut it down before you get caught, you can keep doing it again and again and again until we know Ray Reynolds spent some time in the little shout out to my buddy on the West Coast. Hope you're feeling okay. Hope you're not too sore out there.
Oh man. Oh boy.
So that's the thing. And healthcare or health insurance was the reason why our employers hold this and not car insurance. The reason why they hold this and not any other type of insurance. You can get life insurance anywhere. The reason why businesses hold this is because they made a deal with the devil, FDR. Deal with the devil.
Our second communist president.
Right.
First one was Wilson, and the second one was FDR.
Because of World War II, FDR, I don't know how he's able to do this, but he put a freeze on wage hiring increases. Like you couldn't just hire anybody at any wage that you wanted.
Okay.
I believe it might have been executives of that sort. You couldn't just say, "Oh, okay, you're a good guy. I want to give you $50,000 a year versus that guy got $20,000." Put a freeze on it. So they negotiated with them and said, "Hey, why don't we will offer them health care as an incentive to come to us."
That's right.
And then you let us write it off on our taxes.
The law of unintended consequences. The free market will find a way to go around these crazy regulations that the government comes up with.
Okay. So here's the deal. If you had the knowledge, which I do, if you had the knowledge, you could buy your own health care through a corporation and write it off on your taxes at the end of the year.
So you pay yourself.
Right.
And then write it off.
Right.
So you could sign up for a $30,000 a month insurance.
As long as you got that to write that off, you still have to pay it out. But you won't owe any taxes.
But you're paying it to yourself.
Right, but you won't. I see what you're saying. You got to pay it to somebody.
Yeah, to yourself.
Right.
You're one company pays the other company. You own both companies.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's how it works, people. And then you just write that all off as a tax write-off.
Wow. Kekistan Rose is we're talking about fraud, if you will. He said, true story, a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier was getting new jets, but don't have the room on the deck or in the flight storage. So instead of flying the older $40 million jets to the base for other uses, they destroyed all classified tech inside the jets and simply pushed them overboard to sink at the bottom of the ocean.
What year was that?
Six jets, $40 million each, junked.
Well, were they not close enough to fly them somewhere?
Like, it'd be too much of a hassle.
Middle of the Pacific or something?
It's too much of a hassle, man. It's cheaper for us in our mind to just dump in the water.
I would hope that somebody did. That doesn't make any sense.
If you'd have seen the machine shop that I was in Italy, the most expensive toolboxes you can buy on the market are Snap-on.
Yeah.
We had all of them. The biggest ones, the widest ones, the deepest ones. And because our tools had to have cutouts in the foam in each drawer, you cannot stack tools on top of each other.
Okay.
So you would lay the tools out in a pattern.
And that was for fraud control.
That was for fraud control. And you would cut them out in the foam.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have 1,000 tools...
Which, by the way, I've made those before.
Yeah.
The foam cutouts. I mean, when I was in... They borrowed me to do to help cut out the things.
Yeah, well, we got a handful of new toolboxes, and that's what we did for a couple days.
Yeah.
Just cutting them out.
Right.
And so it was just... We needed more boxes because we had too many tools. Mm-hmm. I could fit 1,000 tools in my one single toolbox, but they'd be laying on each other.
Did you use the heat knife to cut the foam? Yes, we did the same thing. Brian and I did the exact same thing.
Those good times. Anyway, and then... Okay.
Did you shadow them with the black marker?
Yes, we did shadow.
Yeah, we did that too. So anyway.
Okay, government on fraud, waste, and abuse. They're the worst offenders that there will, so why allow them to have control of health insurance in any form or fashion? I honestly believe that Trump was going to do more of a capitalist system. I haven't seen what they're trying to do yet, but as it goes so far...
Trump may not, because Trump's not in charge of writing it.
Right. As it goes so far... This has to be a multi-tiered rollout because of all the stupid rules.
Like an onion.
Yeah, that these idiots up there in the Senate and the House have done. They've caused this problem, and they may have caused it on purpose so that when they sneak something in, it's almost impossible to get rid of it. Just like when you hire a joker as a government job worker.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to fire some of these people.
Oh, that's a union thing, yeah.
And why would you have a union government where it's like
We've
a double
had this a long time ago. Long time. That should be abolished. There should be an amendment in the Constitution that protects the American taxpayer from laws that allow the unionization, the collective bargaining of any government employees, because you're literally collectively bargaining against the taxpayer, and it shouldn't be allowed.
Correct.
When you work for the government, it used to be called service.
Right.
You're serving the government by. It could be that I got elected senator, so I'm serving as a senator. But really, any job where you're working for the government, you're working to keep the lights on. You know, it's the government's not about making a profit or making big money or any of that. And nobody's ripping you off because you're not making enough serving the government. Nobody's ripping you off. Could you imagine the U.S. soldiers being able to collectively bargain? It's ridiculous.
Doesn't make any sense.
You're serving your country.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're a soldier, a senator, a congressman, or just some guy that's an attorney for some office in some government building in some government department. You're serving the country, and you're getting paid by taxpayers. You shouldn't be allowed to collectively bargain in that situation. If you want to collectively bargain against a company, a corporation, or just your boss because you think he's an a-hole, then you should have full ability to do that, but not against the taxpayers. That is my rant against unionization of workers in the government employees. I think it should be not allowed.
Now, I don't know how true this is, and because this is relevant to what we're talking about right now. Jim Hoff from the Gateway Pundit, he posted this video of this girl doing a Periscope in the parking lot of her job.
This is a moment in history that will look back.
Sorry. My computer. Sorry about that.
She was sitting in the parking lot of her job on day 2, periscoping and explaining what happened yesterday, first day of the job, Monday.
Okay. What was her job?
It's irrelevant.
Okay.
Maybe an office worker.
Okay.
So Sunday night, what she did Sunday night, what happened Monday on the first day of the job, and why on the second day of her job, she was periscoping what she's going to do, why she's going to do it, and it is so. This is so ridiculous.
And this was covered by Gateway Pundit.
He posted it as it was real.
Okay, so it might not be real. Are we giving a disclaimer to our listeners? This might be not real. Brian doesn't know.
They did. I'll tell you what. She did a great job. This would be method acting, if you will. So here's this on an employee, and this is the new millennials coming up.
Actually, and I started my new job on Monday. So obviously on Sunday night, I wanted to go out with my friends and celebrate. It was a late night, so Monday morning, first day, I rolled in around 10:30, set up my desk, and
just so you get the gist. She's going at this kind of quick. We're going to replay her night. She went out Sunday night.
Sunday night. That's why you don't party on Sunday night.
She's celebrating her new job.
Did she just get it?
Yeah.
On Sunday?
Well, I don't know.
They told her Sunday, come in tomorrow.
I don't know.
Okay, so she's partying late night Sunday.
Actually, and I started my new job on Monday. So obviously on Sunday night, I wanted to go out with my friends and celebrate.
Yeah.
It was a late night, so Monday morning, first day, I rolled in around 10:30, set up my desk, and my boss.
She rolled in at 10:30.
Well, she doesn't say what time she's supposed to be there yet, or did she ever?
No, she never did.
Maybe she was supposed to be there at 11.
Okay, well, here it is real quick.
Actually, and I started my new job on Monday. So obviously on Sunday night, I wanted to go out with my friends and celebrate. It was a late night, so Monday morning, first day, I rolled in around 10:30, set up my desk, and my boss, my white male boss, had the audacity to come up to me and say, "Where have you been?" Where have I been? Well, I've been celebrating, and I've been partying, and then I've been sleeping, and I've been resting, because you know what? This is a stressful time. And you know what? I feel a little bit pressured and a little bit endangered right now. I do not feel safe, so I'll just leave and come back when you've changed your tune, Mr. White Male Boss. And you know what he said to me? He said, "You can pack up your stuff and go." And I said, "What did you just say to me? I can pack up my stuff and go? I'm fired just because I was late on my first day to work and because I'm not doing anything? Yes. Are you kidding me? I mean, talk about sexism. This is the white male patriarchy at work right here. Talk about discrimination. So now it's Tuesday. I'm back. I've got my protesting signs in the trunk, and I'm going to show them who's boss. And I'm going to show them that this millennial generation is not taking that crap from baby
boomers, right? Who would have known? Who would have known that the hippies from the 60s...
Dude, they're reaping what they sow. Dude, it's their own fault.
That's
true. Sorry about that.
It's their fault. Wow, they are reaping. You made your bed, now you sleep in it. That's what I would tell these baby boomers. Wow. That is...
I don't know how...
It almost sounds... If I found out that this was a total hoax, I'd be like, of course it is. As soon as she said so obviously on a Sunday night, the word, she even stresses, she emphasizes the word, so obviously I'm going to go out and party. I'm going to celebrate. Obviously. Like we wouldn't, like, of course we know that. We know that already. You guys know this already, but I'm just going to say it. They went out and partied because that's what you're supposed to do on a Sunday night before you work on your first day on Monday.
And I was late. I was at my desk doing nothing. And
let me tell you a story. I had a ticket or a sign up for an aircraft flying class.
Okay.
And I think it was like a Saturday. I'd go out, take off in an aircraft, fly it around, and land that thing all by myself, but with a instructor in it. The night before,
a real airplane or a simulator?
Aircraft. No, real aircraft.
Okay,
total a Cessna, a single engine, four-seater,
totally cool.
And Brian has heard this story before, and he gave me a lot of crap for it, and he was absolutely right. I feel like an idiot, but anyway, the night before, we were basically challenging each other with shots.
Shot.
Lots of shots. I wish I had this soundbite right now. I'd just be like, mash it. Well, I had to be there like 8 in the morning. So guess what time I come rolling in? 7:50. I wasn't going to miss that. Come on, man.
Not even close.
Oh, man. Absolutely not. See, that's the difference between Gen X... Or for us, Gen X.
Yeah, we'll show up anywhere drunk. Even a flying aircraft, we'll show up drunk as hell if we get the chance.
And let me tell you something. That instructor was like, wow.
Dude, I could use your breath to actually run the engine.
Oh, my God.
Your body has filtered out the pure alcohol that this thing could run on.
Right. It would be like a boost, like a nitrous. I'd blow into this straw right here and just get a boost, you know what I mean? So, I took it off. I never flown before, but I've always, ever since I was a tiny little kid, I've always dreamed of being a pilot. And so I took it off. And one thing that I was surprised about it kind of reminded me of the military. Like in the military, my first day, I'm like, you're not actually going to make me remove and replace this part on this aircraft, this critical component that if not done properly will down this aircraft into the ground, killing everybody on board. Yes, they do that. So sure enough, first day of flight training, like, all right, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a hands-on type of instructor, which means you will be taking this thing off, you will be flying it, and you will be landing it yourself. I'll intervene if I have to. If I feel like you're not doing it just right, I'll intervene, so you don't have to worry about that, but you're doing it all. And I was like, really? Do you not smell my breath? So anyway, I took it off, I flew it around, I followed instructions perfectly. I was a little nervous about the landing, but I just nailed it. Nailed the landing, and he praised me. He's like, "Wow, man, you're like one of my best." And I was like, "Really, man?" No, I didn't puke.
Don't light a cigarette around me.
No, but the point is I showed up on time. I wasn't going to be late to that. The millennial would have been like, "Well, obviously, I was partying," and yeah, that's crap.
Keck says if you're not early, you're late. There are jobs. I mean, when I was young, you know what? When I was young, and when I say young, I mean 18. I had my own apartment at 17 years old.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I was working at the restaurant like what we all did.
Yeah.
Worked at Kroger's, then I moved, and I'm in the restaurant, and worked at the dishwasher, and the guys that I worked with, some of them were 21, and I'm 18.
Yeah.
And that's only a couple of years apart.
Plus, you looked old for your age, though. Like, I was the opposite. I looked like I was 4 years younger than I was.
Right. So when you were 18, people thought you were 12.
At least.
But because I had my own apartment, and I wasn't that far from the restaurant, everybody came over.
Right.
I worked mornings.
You were the after party.
Right. I worked mornings. They worked nights.
So it was like nonstop.
So it was nonstop. And I still showed up for the job. I still just showed up. Yeah, I might have been swaying back and forth. Yeah, they knew and it was no good, but
it was just a restaurant as long as you're there. Right?
And I'm in the back and I'm washing dishes. They could care less as long as I did what I had to do. But the thing and my point is I showed up. I consistently showed up. I took their crap for as long as I could, and then I did what I do.
Do you remember in school when we were kids in elementary school, to get the award at the end of the quarter for perfect attendance, meaning not only did you not miss any days, but you weren't late any days, that was really prestigious.
There is no such award now.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, if you have perfect attendance, it might be frowned upon. Like, I don't know. It was really prestigious. I remember to be able to... I mean, there were people that made the honor roll. And if you made the honor roll, that everybody knows that's prestigious. But if you got perfect attendance and you got to be on that list, there would be like this board with a list of all the people who had perfect attendance. That was really prestigious. Now, they would never award that because it wouldn't be fair to little Johnny who got strep throat that quarter. Because it wasn't his fault he got strep throat. But back then, they didn't give two blanks. They were like, hey, I don't care if you got 104 fever. If you want that prestigious perfect attendance award, you better get your butt in there. Put a mask on or something.
It's not their fault. Their mom's, hungover and
she
didn't get them to school.
Oh, here's the phone conversation with mom. Well, obviously, I was drinking on Sunday night. Obviously. Right. So, yeah, that's how it went. Like, why isn't your son into school? It's Monday, and it's like 10 o'clock, and there's no excused absence, and he's not here. Excuse me? Excuse me? It is Monday morning, and let me tell you something. It's hard. It's a struggle. And I was out drinking because obviously that's what you do on Sunday nights to celebrate the fact that it's Sunday.
Much of what you see and hear on the following program may be shocking and upsetting to you.
I still think that's Is that Earl
Nightingale?
No, Earl Jones. James
No,
Earl
his
Jones?
name is Earl Nightingale.
I'm telling you, that's Darth Vader. I'm telling you. Anyway,
so good times. I got a couple of more clips I want to run through real fast. They brought this up on the chat room. You're listening to Smith Radio, SMYTH Radio. Go to smithradio.com. You can see everything that you ever needed to see regarding the news to politics, funny stuff, sad stuff, real stuff, all real news. If you want to be a part of the show, we go live 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So either go to smithradio.com and click the red button at the top left that says live, or just go smithradio.info. Take you directly to our Spreaker page where we broadcast live. We are working at video. We will be doing live video.
As soon as we get a Patreon.
Within a couple of weeks.
Patreon.com/Smith Radio. Make sure you go there and go ahead and pledge $1, $2, $5.
Whatever feels comfortable. We're not here to make you uncomfortable unless that we want.
Some people like to feel uncomfortable.
I know, creepy.
Oh, you ever seen those comedies where
Have you ever seen Adam Schiff in his eyes?
Is it uncomfortable?
Representative from California, please stand down.
It's very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
No, Larry David. Larry David is the king of his thing.
I love it.
He thinks that the funniest thing in the world is to create the most uncomfortable situation. It's hard for me to watch.
He's got me hooked.
Oh, it's hard for me because I'm like, ooh, do I want to cringe that hard? That's what it is. However hard he can make you cringe, he thinks it's the funniest thing.
What makes me feel good because I see a liberal getting his just desserts.
I guess
he is a lib, by the way.
Oh, of course,
flaming,
100%.
So if you don't know who Adam Schiff is, he is the pencil neck geek that Rush Limbaugh calls him, pencil neck geek. That's on the Intel committee. He's the one that hates Trump. He's Democrat, saying that the Russian thing is real, trying to find out it's real. Just awful. And this morning on ABC, he's with Jon Karl on ABC News, and they're talking about Don Jr. and the situation that he's in right now, and that Donald J. Trump, number six, Donald J. Trump is possibly looking at pardons. Did you hear about this?
No. What's that all about?
Congressman Schiff, so you just heard the issue of pardons. He is not ruling out that the president could issue pardons to key figures in this investigation. Would that put an end to this if the president suddenly issued blanket pardons to the key figures?
Okay, that was a 2-minute clip. The answer is yes, it would end it. Oh, sorry, did I interrupt that clip?
I wouldn't end it. They would use that as the reason why he was guilty. Seriously, right?
Well, you know what Schiffy eyes it's going to say then.
It wouldn't put an end to it. Obviously, it'd be deeply disturbing, and I think the impression certainly the country would get from that is the president was trying to shield people from liability for telling the truth about what happened.
Yeah, that was ABC Don. That was ABC.
Hold on. Is he saying, hold the horses right now? Is he saying that what CNN, actually, I'm not even going to give CNN the credit.
I think
the New York Times. The New York Times article that resurrected the corpse that we know of as Russiagate.
Right.
Is telling the truth? Come on! Really? He just accused the New York Times of telling the truth in their Saturday night article. July 8th is when they came out with it. That resurrected. This was the meeting heard round the world of Donald Trump Jr. that he had with this person that was of Russian descent. I'm using air quotes here. Russian descent. Did you see her interview? They needed a translator. She probably speaks fluent English.
She does speak fluent English,
but they made sure she didn't speak a word of English.
She said she is not from the Kremlin.
No, she said she's not connected to the Kremlin.
Right.
Putin was asked about her. Putin said, "I have no idea who that woman is."
Of course.
Now they could be lying, They could be lying.
Hold on, but all her connections to the Obamas and the Clintons and the deep state, you can't get away from that.
Right, she is connected there, but here's another thing.
Who's she married to? Or
I don't know.
I thought she was married to somebody in the Clinton campaign. Somebody tied to the Clinton.
She would have been. She may have been outed by now. Put out of her misery. Yeah. Oh, that's news this week.
We got two
more corpses.
2 more corpses.
Clinton corpses. That should be the hashtag.
Yikes.
Yeah. Mike Cernovich used to be the best at coming up with hashtags like instantly, right off the top of his head, and then it would go viral. It'd get to the top of Twitter. Lots of fun. But I'll tell you what, Clinton corpses. Maybe that was already one. Clinton corpses could have been one already. I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the old messages. But, my phone locks up on Periscope.
Yeah, it gets too hot.
What?
Dude, my phone gets to be a flaming ball of fire.
Oh, no, you could do Periscope the way Bill Mitchell does. Just kind of jam it through the that thing. I don't know. We're getting inside baseball here.
All right, so let's finish up with Don Schiff in his ABC interview this morning.
Unbelievable.
In the Russia investigation or Russian contacts. But what I take away from his discussion with you is 2 things, 2 points he wants to make. First, the president didn't know. And second, even if he did, there's no crime here.
The president didn't know. And second, even if he did, there's no crime here.
That's true, but I made the comparison.
He just said if he pardons, then we all know he did it. And then in his next breath, he says he doesn't know and there's no crime. He said there's no crime here.
He's talking out of both sides of his face for the most part. But what the argument they're trying to make is not so much what did Russia do? What did Russia do? What did Russia do? It's the other side. It's like To Catch a Predator or How to Catch a Predator, whatever that show was with Bill Hansen or whatever his name was, where they would use...
Oh, yeah, they'd trick people to come to the house to see the little girl.
Right, and the little girl who was kind of young looking for her, and she was actually 19, and she was playing like a 15 or 16-year-old or whatever, and they would lure in the predator, and then he would get in there...
And she's like, I'll be right back, I'm going to use the restroom.
Something like that, and then Jim Hansen, Bill Hansen, whatever his name was, would come around the corner and say, hi, how's it going?
We got you with a camera.
With the
jammed
camera
in his face.
Yeah, they would jam the camera.
By the way, no, you can't go nowhere. And the guy runs out the front door. And law enforcement.
They tackle him and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing. Technically, a crime wasn't committed because the woman was actually 19. But what they got you on was that you believed that the girl was underage.
Right.
And that the evidence is that you tried to solicit the relationship that's not right with a girl that would be of illegal age.
Right.
That's the argument they're trying to make with Donald Trump Jr., which is that, yeah, sure, she's not really a Russian spy. She's not really connected to the Kremlin or any of that, but you thought she was.
Right.
You thought she was, and you tried to collude with the Russian government, even though it didn't. None of that's real. None of it's real. It's all smoke and mirrors. We created the smoke. We put up the mirrors. We set the mirrors up. We started pumping the room full of smoke. And then we said, come on in. We got Russians here. And you did it. You said, okay. Okay, I'll come in.
Right.
That's the argument they're trying to make. The problem is, here's the problem. The problem is that this woman is actually connected to the Democrats completely. And when they lured him in, they initially got his attention by saying, we have dirt on Clinton. We're from Russia, and we're here to tell you about things we know about Clinton. That would absolutely not necessarily be colluding with Russia, because in an illegal sense, because there's nothing wrong with getting factual information from anybody. The fact that she may have been connected to Russia is irrelevant. It could be anybody from anywhere. If it's factual info, then whatever.
Right. Okay. Let's listen to the rest of Schiff, and he's going to really open up and accidentally. Schiff this morning accidentally showed his hand.
Uh-oh.
Now, I got this soundbite, and I got the information from Jim Hoft from the Gateway Pundit. I went down the rabbit hole, and I chased down these videos. But this Gateway Pundit, I'm telling you, folks, you got to hook up with Jim Hoft.
Now, to believe that, though, we have to rely on two things. We have to rely on Don Jr.'s representation of what happened in that meeting, and we've already seen many times we can't rely on that because, of course, he first said no such meeting ever happened, and then he said the meeting was about adoptions, and then he admitted the meeting was about getting information on Hillary Clinton, and that he wasn't forthcoming about who was in the meeting. So we can't accept anything Don Jr. says. And, of course, we can't accept much the president says about this either because he has a similar record of not being forthcoming when it comes to Russia. And indeed, if you look at the president's statement,
I don't know when Trump has never been forthcoming about Russia. This is Democrat.
They keep on saying he keeps lying.
He's on the Russian committee.
Oh, he's like, he heads it.
Yes.
He's the guy that has come out and with the opening statement at the hearings with a giant, huge lie burger. Right. I mean, literally a giant 5, 6, 7 minute speech loaded with lies. It's like a Washington Post wet dream of a speech,
yes,
that kind of thing. And the thing is you're allowed to lie in a congressional hearing if you're a congressman or a senator.
Because you're not under oath.
Yeah, you're allowed to lie, and that's where they get you.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they get you. But anyway, go.
So around this time, he announces a speech he's going to give where he's going to give the dirt on Hillary Clinton that he then cancels. Now, that would corroborate that Don Jr. didn't get the information he was hoping for, but of course it contradicts the idea that he was unaware.
But you also heard him say several times the president is not under investigation. Is that true?
I can't comment on who Bob
What
Mueller
a
made.
liar.
Everybody knows.
What a liar. He's basically, that answer right there.
This happened this morning. This morning.
Oh my gosh, this is fresh information, folks. That answer right there was specifically designed to send a dog whistle to all the Democrats and all the anti-Trumpers, all the never-Trumpers, all the people that are skeptical that it's very possible he is under investigation.
I can't comment on that,
even though
Karen.
he could absolutely not be. He just says, I can't comment on it.
I can't comment on that.
Be looking at, but clearly we want to, in the congressional committees, determine just what the Russians did, who was knowing of it, who was participating in it. And, of course, the president very publicly encouraged Russia to do exactly what Don Jr. was encouraging Russia to do privately. That
was a joke. Donald Trump does a joke based on the fake conspiracy theories with Russia and the servers, the 30,000 emails that were hidden, that were kept from our investigators in our different Obama-led departments, all our different intelligence departments, all the investigative departments who would look at a server to find out if a crime had been committed, who committed the crime. All this stuff was hidden from our investigative departments in the government under Obama. And so as a joke, Trump said, hey, Russia, if you're out there listening, maybe you could find those 30,000 emails. And hold on. Brian's actually finding it.
No news conference for Hillary Clinton. You ought to check it out because there's a lot going on. How does Hillary Clinton get a national security briefing when she's been probably hacked, when so much of her information, the director of the FBI, said it was essentially negligent? If Russia or China or any other country has those emails, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to see them. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press. You know, the closest I came to Russia, I bought a house a number of...
Okay.
No, you got the goods. You got the goods. So, interestingly, now that I hear that again for the first time in maybe some weeks...
You would be paid handsomely
by the press, by our press. So here's the funny thing about that, now that I'm hearing it again all this time later in the context of all this new information, it sounds like he's pointing out that our own Obama-led agencies are unable to get this or for whatever reason will not get this.
Right.
But possibly maybe we can have a foreign outside entity do this for us, because I can't count on our own damn investigative departments under the Obama administration, because they're colluding with each other against their political opposition.
So Schiff says this morning, fast forward almost 2 years, year and a half. Schiff says what Trump announced out in public, his son is doing in private.
Is give us the dirt on Hillary Clinton. And every time there was dirt released in the form of stolen emails, the president...
When there was dirt released in the form of stolen emails...
Okay.
Because he's twisting it. Listen to his words. He says they were looking for dirt.
Who was?
Trump.
Right.
And Don Jr. looking
is
for
what
the
everybody
dirt.
does. By the way,
and when
everybody does that.
And when the dirt was released in the form of stolen email, not what was in the emails, not the John Podesta pedophile, Russian, all the stuff that they've been doing illegally, not that.
He does call it dirt, though.
But he calls the dirt in the form of stolen emails.
Right.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'll make too big of a deal of it then.
Well, here's the interesting part.
His wording to me is weird.
I'm going to sum up really, really, really quick here what you learned if you listen to Russia, 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 which was our episode that we aired December 11th. We were the first ones to get all of this right. And here's the summary of it. That Russia hacked the DNC emails does not mean that when they were released, it was the Russians. Because Russia would hack whatever, everything. And they would always keep that intel. They've been doing this since computers were invented. That's what their espionage does. They use their spies, their hackers to gain information, and then they use it, and that's it. That they were released to WikiLeaks was independent of whatever Russia did. That is the conclusion of Russia, Russia, Russia.
Correct.
So when he says in this audio that the dirt was released in the form of stolen emails, he's trying to trick you into thinking that because we know that they were hacked by Russians, that the dirt released must have come from the Russians is actually a logical fallacy, because it doesn't take into consideration that multiple people may have hacked that. And it doesn't take into consideration where we know they came from. They came from the inside. A disgruntled Democrat operative who works in the DNC, Seth Rich, could take all those emails out from the inside, just like Snowden. Snowden was an inside guy. Are we going to say that the Russians hacked and that's where Snowden got us? No.
Well, that's where he's living, though, Kerry.
Well, yeah, clearly the Russians are. Yeah.
He's living high on the hog in Russia.
You know why? Because the Democrats hate the Russians for whatever reason. I don't know. But anyway, so
the Democrats think that they can sway us conservatives by hating on Russia and say, remember when you guys hated Russia?
Yeah, well, guess what? That was called the USSR.
Plotted very public.
Sorry. So the point you'll learn is that just because Russia hacked the election, and just because our intel community can prove that it was Russia that hacked the election, which, by the way, Vault 7, what did we learn from Vault 7?
Oh, a treasure trove of stuff.
Yeah, the thing we learned from Vault 7 was that using the tools that the U.S. government has produced, which have, by the way, been stolen and disseminated throughout the entire world. Everybody has it now.
Right.
They have tools that allow you to hack somebody and make it look like the hack came from somewhere else.
Right. So the inside feds, the deep state, could actually fake Trump's emails if they could hack into it, fake it, make it look like it can, or send Trump an email from somewhere, but make it look like Russia's sending Trump emails.
And they can also hack any server, and if that server is investigated, they can make it look like the hack came from Russia when really it didn't at all. Those are the tools available that were exposed by Vault 7. Thank you again, James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, for coming out with all this stuff. Awesome stuff, whatever. Okay, so going back to, or actually, was that a WikiLeaks thing?
That was WikiLeaks.
I'm sorry, Julian Assange. So thank you again, Julian Assange. Okay, so now that we know that, Yeah, it was an inside job, most likely. It makes the most sense coming from that way, and that's what you learn when you listen to Smith Radio all the way back from 2016. Nobody had all this stuff exactly right as early as us, flat out. And you can tell all your friends that. If you're listening right now to Smith Radio, you can tell your friends that the reason I listen to Smith Radio is when they come out with this analysis of the news that is coming out. They come out with these kind of, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back too much, but I give credit to everybody for coming out with really smart news analysis. But I'm going to give myself credit if I come out with it first. And so I have to say, Russia was the big revelation that if anybody had saw it back in December would know. Tell all your friends that you get great analysis from us, because that's how we need to grow. We need to grow. We need to teach everybody what's really going on, the truth in America. You get it from us, amongst others.
And the fact that you guys are on the message board right now is just absolutely incredible. Being on the message board from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday evenings, go to smithradio.info. Being on the message board is so important to us because we interact with you throughout the entire show. We see this, the usual suspects that we love to talk to. You got Vanessa, you got Kekistan Rose, Sam Keels, James Corwin, who is on a beach drinking a beer right now, and I'm so envious. Mary Lou, and then there's Carrie as well. So
I'm on there.
You got the usual suspects, and it's fun to see the interaction between everybody. And back to this real quick, wrapping this up, this is the last bit of Schiff.
So the question that we've had, among others, is, was the campaign doing privately what it was urging publicly? And here you have now evidence in black and white that, yes, the campaign was encouraging the Russians to give them dirt. And the fact that this was done through intermediaries is just how the Russians operate.
No. He wasn't asking them to give them dirt. He said, find those 30,000 emails so that the press will get them from you and pay you handsomely for it.
No, that's not what Schiff said, though, Carrie.
We just played the soundbite.
Right.
So Schiff was clearly a liar. You are a liar. Schiff, I would say that to your face, and I would hope that Brian had his Periscope open, capturing it, and I would point my finger right between his eyes and say, you are a liar.
Liar.
And just because you're in front of Congress and giving your liar speech, we're not going to fall for the fake lying that this is supposed to be the truth because you always have to tell the truth in front of Congress. You could get in trouble, Brian. You could get in trouble for lying in a congressional hearing, unless you're a congressman.
This is painful. Yeah. This really and truly hurts.
So something else that came out of this little conversation he had with Schiff had with John.
Who?
This is John.
John who?
John Crack. Jimmy Crack Corn. ABC's John. This was the interview that Schiff was having.
Dickerson? He's the Dickerson's the guy who did that.
Jon Karl.
Oh, okay, Jon Karl.
With Jon Karl, Schiff accidentally now that was the whole thing about Don Jr. possible not ruling out that Trump will use pardons for people or whatnot. We got to get this thing over with. We got to be done with this so that we can move forward and allow this country to be great again. The Democrat and the mainstream media's worst nightmare right now, their worst nightmare, Trump making America great again. Worst nightmare.
And they're going to spend the first 4 years doing everything they can to gum up the works. And let me point this out to you.
And the second 4 years, too.
Yes. Well, they're just going to have to cross that road when they get to it.
Dude, that's going to be so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm getting fired up. People are already posting on their Twitter name, Trump 2020.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Dude, clear vision. 2020 vision. Trump. We've got to incorporate that somehow.
Because we took the red pill. Now we're seeing 2020.
Right. So check this out. Now we've got Schiff and John talking about Ukraine, the DNC, and Russia, and Trump. And you're like, what? he spills the beans that the DNC was working with the Ukrainian government.
Uh-oh.
And then he does an analogy on this thing. This is insane, folks. You got to hear this.
The Democratic Party and the Ukrainian embassy. This comes from a story in Politico that ran in January. The headline, Ukrainian efforts to sabotage Trump backfire. And I want to read from the article. A Ukrainian-American operative who was consulting for the DNC met with top officials in the Ukrainian embassy in Washington in an effort to expose ties between Trump, top campaign aide Paul Manafort, and Russia. The Ukrainian efforts had an impact in this race, helping force Manafort's resignation and advancing the narrative that the Trump campaign was deeply connected to Ukraine's foe to the east, Russia. So let me ask you, I understand Hillary Clinton lost, and I understand this effort was not as elaborate as the Russian effort.
We're emotional.
But was it acceptable, or would it have been acceptable for the Democrats to accept help from the Ukrainian government in this campaign?
No, it would be appropriate for the Democrats to accept help from the Ukrainian government. But I think if you look at the Politico article, and we're talking about just a single article here, if you accept all the facts in the article, the scale of what the Russians did is not comparable to anything in that article. If it were, the comparable analogy would be that the Ukrainian president directed the Ukrainian intelligence agencies to hack Donald Trump's campaign, steal emails, publish them, directed a social media army to influence the election, and its representatives sat down with Chelsea Clinton and John Podesta, in which they indicated they wanted the dirt on Donald Trump. There's no suggestion anything of that magnitude.
So the scale is different, acknowledge that, but this is...
Okay, here's where you're getting into it. Follow it, folks. He just now said the scale is different. It happened, but the scale of it happening is different.
Problematic. This Ukrainian meeting is problematic in your eyes.
Well, it would be problematic to get any kind of support from a foreign government. But again, I think to compare the two is a bit like comparing bank robbery with writing a check with insufficient funds. Both appropriate money from the bank improperly, but a very different degree of seriousness and involvement, in this case, by a foreign government.
So this is what he's leaving out. Do you want to hear? Listen, when you guys listen to this, it's a magician doing a magic trick. But is a magician really magical? No, it's a sleight of hand.
Right.
Here's the sleight of hand. His analogy was it sounded devastating to Trump and Donald Trump Jr. But what he doesn't point out was that in his analogy, imagine if Ukraine sent operatives to meet with Chelsea Clinton and John Podesta. That's his analogy, right?
Correct.
But what he doesn't say, here's their sleight of hand, was that those operatives that they sent to go meet with Chelsea Clinton and John Podesta were actually Trump administration operatives sent to set them up. They weren't Ukrainian operatives.
Right.
They would have been Trump operatives. Yes. So how does that analogy would make Trump look like way worse than what Hillary. So we flip it back around. This was not a Kremlin operative. No. This was a Democrat operative. And if you don't believe us, go back and listen to Mike Cernovich's 2-minute video that you sent. If you go to Mike Cernovich on YouTube, he's making these little 2-minute videos now, which are really good. They're very well done. They're just great. And the one that we played earlier in the show was that it turns out this person was going to protest on behalf of the Democrats. He's protesting the anti-Trump protests and all this.
She was sitting with Obama admin during a hearing in the crowd behind the guy who was giving testimony.
Yeah, so this is not...
She took a picture of John McCain and F. Chuck Todd in John McCain's office.
Right. And she did never deliver the goods in the meeting with Donald Trump Jr.
Never.
Instead, she gave vague generalities and went straight to Russian adoption. And that would be equivalent to, if this is a really obscure reference, but like the movie Midnight Run with Robert De Niro.
Oh, wow.
So at the very end, in order to convict the mobster, he had to take the disc.
Right.
The 5.5-inch floppy. 5.25-inch floppy. If he didn't take the disc, they couldn't make the arrest. And at the very last minute, there was a little scuffle going on, and the cops couldn't tell if he took the disc or not. So like screaming through their little the little microphones, "Did he take the disc? Did he take the disc?" And they're running, and everybody's running, and they're all in this airport, and nobody knows what's going on. And finally, Robert De Niro tries to tell them through his mic he took the disc, but his mic got blown off or something.
It don't work.
So he's screaming, "He took the disc!" She never offered up a disc for him to take.
There was never a disc.
There was never a disc. Not at all. As far as Jr. was concerned, Donald Trump Jr., he wasn't there to get a disc per se. What's the disc? What would be the disc in this case? It's Russian collusion. It's collusion between the Trump administration and the Kremlin.
Right.
That would be the disc.
Or in this case, for the Russian lawyer, she'd be giving a disc of collusion of Hillary and dirt that she's got on Hillary. That's why Don Jr. met with her.
He thought it was a disc that had dirt on Hillary.
Yes.
And they're trying to make the argument that it's a disc that is from Putin himself saying, "Let's work together, man. Let's work together." So this is why the whole thing is a big lie.
Nothing burger.
They're like, "This is the disc," and they switched hands. Yeah, but what was on the disc? What did Trump Jr. think was on the disc?
The files. They're in the computer.
The files.
They're inside the computer? The files? Well, okay.
Did you wipe it? What, with like a cloth? We use bleach bit.
Somebody
gave
me some bleach. A jug of bleach.
Bleach bit. It's in a jug.
Dude, we could make some serious money, go up against Clorox bleach and call it
bleach bit. Well, it'd be copywriting off of the actual software.
Oh, well, but we're doing something different. I can call myself McDonald's.
As long as you're not selling burgers.
I'm selling bicycles.
Interesting. Can you have the golden arches?
No, negative, Ghost Rider, negative.
So bleach bit, if it's a jug of actual bleach, that you can make the argument that you're not competing against this software company.
That is correct.
Okay, copyright Smith Radio for all you out there trying to steal our ideas.
So this week, Hannity... I was going to get into a soundbite from Hannity, but to check this out, Loretta Lynch, it's been exposed that she demanded that Manafort's phone calls be tapped. I'm telling you, folks.
Oh, that is so dirty.
The deep state is so deep and so dirty, it's being exposed, and the only way that they can cover up the exposing of the deep state is to continue this insane narrative.
Here's the problem with why there needs to be multiple people in jail. Because this whole thing where they sent this woman of Russian descent that speaks fluent Russian, that she apparently needs a translator when she's on MSM giving here's the problem. It wasn't just that the Democrats did this. They incorporated and employed taxpayer-funded government agencies to mount a giant fake sting
against the
opposition.
The would-be sitting president.
Political opposition.
Yes.
This would be the ultimate dream of Nixon's dream. Nixon would be like, "Oh, you mean you can do that?"
That almost sounded like Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, no, his voice is different, isn't it? He's more drunk. I need to have a couple more beers a couple more shots before I get into Jimmy Stewart.
Oh my goodness!
Like he's got, I don't know. It's like he's always, under the influence or something.
I'm just like I'm good old boy.
I don't know. All right.
Anyway, so MSNBC this morning. This is breaking news, folks. This morning, MSNBC gets their bubble busted.
Uh-oh.
They tap Columbia University law professor of legislation. I mean, that's a heck of a degree. Richard Briffault. And they pull him on, and they're saying to him, "Hey, you've got to give us the scoop here. We know there's something here. We know that what went down. We know that there's treason. We know it.
Oh, clearly they want to overthrow the United States Constitution.
Right. We know there's treason in here, and you've got to expose it. You've got to show it to us. And we got it. Okay. Here it is.
Treason's a little extreme for this. I mean, it's not clear they may not be our friends. It's not clear they're an enemy. We're not at war. It's not clear this violates it's against the United States government. So I'm not up to treason yet.
So take tea off the table. How about
She's so upset. Take tea off the table.
Damn it. Why can't
perjury definition? A person under oath states any material matter which he does not believe to be true would be
okay. She just said a person under oath.
Uh-huh.
Now they're going after Don Jr. for perjury.
Was he under oath?
Come on, man. You're talking about details of the process. We're just going to get this done. You're talking about minor details.
He doesn't need to actually perjure himself. We just need to make the public believe that he did.
Come on, man.
It is perjury.
Well, with the possible exception of Jared Kushner's filing those forms to get his security clearance, I'm not sure any of this has been under oath yet. On those,
he's being nice.
There is, maybe it's not perjury, but there is a crime of lying to the U.S. government. But that would have to prove that he was sort of doing it knowingly, falsely, and his claim is, well, I just forgot. So we're in the gray area there. Okay.
All right, well, can we just add then, the Time magazine currently has Don Jr. on the cover, but in their piece, they say that in the email chain between Don Jr. And the Russian intermediary,
who Don Jr. released because I think he thought it would be funny. Why else would you do? He said, "You know what? I'm gonna give you a whole string of emails. I'm gonna release it all."
Oh no! You know what happened was, as soon as he realized that woman was a Democrat operative, or maybe possibly even a Russian operative,
right?
That she has when you email somebody, and then they email back. You have a thread between the two of you,
right?
You have the whole thread, and so does the other party,
right?
So you can't just say, "I'm not going to let you see my emails." She has them all.
Right.
And as soon as he realized that, he was like, I need to preempt them. And guess what he did? He called up the New York Times and said, guys, yeah, I know you got them, and I know that you're going to release them. That's all cool and stuff, but can you give me half a day so that I can respond to what's out there so far?
12 hours. 12 hours.
Half days, whatever. Yeah. Just a little bit of time so I can respond to what's been out there so far, and then you guys come out with your next expose, and then I'll respond to that afterwards. Please give me some time. And those dumbasses actually did. They were like, oh, okay, man, we're going to get you so good. We're going to get you so good. They were so excited. We'll wait 12 hours. That'll build up some
I'll tell you what.
That'll build up some suspense.
In the 11th hour, we'll jump him early. We'll get it in the 11th hour.
We'll do 11 hours.
11 hours. Yeah. He wants 12. We're going to get him on 11.
So as soon as he gets off the phone with New York Times, he gets on the phone with his team of people. Guys, or the secretary, whatever. Go through the emails, find that thread, get the whole thing, and give it to me ASAP right now. Let's go.
Dump.
So they get him the emails. Okay, here's your thread. All right, good. Boom, release it publicly and just totally take the steam. They scooped him.
Hey, everybody.
He scooped him.
Everybody, when I saw that come across Matt Drudge, it was just, I couldn't help but break out laughing, staring at my phone, and everybody said, what are you laughing about? I said, man, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah, and so what does that do? When he scoops the New York Times, when the New York Times comes out with that information, it's going to be accompanied by a huge hit piece, and the initial reaction by the people who find it out, which would be through the New York Times, is going to tend to just go along with whatever the New York Times says. By preempting them, it gives everybody, Trump supporters, Trump haters, a chance to read the emails first, come to their initial first gut reaction conclusion, and then the pundits have to come forward afterwards and try to guide everybody's thoughts, which is what they do. They're a bunch of brainwashing propagandists. So that's why he released it early, so that people could see it without having been manipulated by the New York Times, which is what they do best.
I'll tell you what, this political world that we live in has gotten so incredibly awesome because of Trump and his family doing what they do.
It says Kushner maintains that he failed to read to the bottom of the email invitation to the meeting, so he didn't understand the Russian promise it contained. It was on the fourth page. Yet in the subject line says Russia, Clinton, private and confidential. Is that argument that he didn't scroll down hold any water?
Oh, hold on a second.
Hold on.
Okay,
my dad's listening. I'm telling you right now, Pops, I love you to death, man. And you're making me a better person. But I accidentally told him, because he found out. He's like, so did you read that text I sent you? My dad does these paragraph texts. It's like an email.
Oh,
but it texts
but
it.
most text things will chop it up.
My phone puts it in one giant paragraph.
Oh, good. When they do chop it up, they don't necessarily send it to you in order.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
There you go.
I'm not kidding.
Okay, so and he's like, you didn't read the whole thing, did you? I'm like, no, man. Somebody sent me a text. I'm reading the first 2 lines. I'm done. I'm out. I'm walking. And he's like, how dare you? I'm like, okay, maybe I will read the entire paragraph.
Well, you want
text?
Yeah,
I'll go through it, and now I do, and so I don't miss out. But
my dad will send us big, giant paragraphs too.
Kushner could. I absolutely didn't read all 4 pages. Okay, whatever. It happens.
4 pages. My God.
I wouldn't get past the first paragraph.
Well, maybe it would be like an interesting story. It has like cliffhangers and stuff.
No, because she doesn't even speak English, so it's broken English and writing, and the Y-O-U and I are mixed, and the we and the I and you are all, it's a
mess.
Yeah, you got to decipher it.
And the A is upside down.
Anyway. It's got a hash mark over it.
You're like, the R is backwards.
Yeah, and you're like, huh?
Is that even a letter?
How do you say that?
Anyway, so guess what little sleight of hand she just did in that audio clip that we just cut off?
Okay.
Because we're not done with it yet.
No.
But
Yeah.
here's the sleight of hand there. Whenever anybody in the Trump campaign, anybody who can be connected to Trump in any way, whether it's a family member, whether it is a campaign volunteer or a campaign paid staff or an administration staff, doesn't matter. If they're connected to Trump, that counts, is in any kind of a communication of any type on any format with somebody of Russian descent. And by the way, Jack Posobiec found this out because he's actually engaged to somebody of Russian descent. Yeah.
So he's connected to Russia.
But here's the sleight of hand. They don't say a Russian or a Russian citizen or a person of Russian descent. They don't even say it's a person. They say it's Russia.
Oh, it is the entire country.
Yeah. They accused Jack Posobiec, this is a long time ago, of being in contact and in communication with Russia because they found a profile, a user in their. They have a social media that's just like Facebook, but it's for Russia, and it's actually in Russia. Their social platform is, I think, owned by the government. It's created and owned by the government. I think, and his wife is Russian, or fiance is Russian. So in order to communicate with her when she was, I don't know if she's in Russia or whatever, he opened up an account on their social media.
So
the press found out about it, and they said, are you in are you in conversations with Russia?
I remember.
And he was like, no.
Didn't he on Twitter respond to them in Russian?
Yes. Yes, he did. It was hilarious. No, it wasn't Twitter. It was an email back and forth, and then he released the email.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
So
know
anyway,
they responded to
so they did it to Jack. They said, wait a minute. You talk to a Russian. And they don't say that. They say...
You talk to Russia.
Russia. And you know what he said? And this is when my mind got open. It was a brilliant response. He would be like, that would be like a Russian opening up a Facebook account and then being accused of being in talks with the American government. Seriously.
No, the Americas.
North,
South, all of America. All of America.
Yeah, every one of them.
Because when you say Americas, you're saying all of this.
Well, the United States.
North, South,
the U.S. government. That would be like a foreign person opening up a Facebook account and then being accused by his people of being in conversations with the U.S. government. That's literally what it means. And so what they did here's the sleight of hand in this soundbite that we're in the middle of playing with. She says Russia when she really means, if she was going to be honest, and she never will be because she's a lying, fake news operative.
Liar.
And that is, what she meant was this person of Russian descent or this Russian citizen or whatever. Instead, she refers to this person as literally Russia. If you've ever, I told this guy his name's literally Hitler on Twitter.
Right, yes.
Which is hilarious, but it's a little bit dated because we don't talk about, nobody is calling, I shouldn't say nobody, but it's very rare for us right-wingers to be called literally Hitler anymore, or even Trump to be called literally Hitler anymore. I think they've finally gotten the picture that doesn't work.
Don't stick.
But now with this Russiagate thing, he should change his name to literally Russia. Because that literally, if you have any connection whatsoever to Russia, you are Russia. You are the Kremlin. You are Putin himself. You're literally Russia.
And I bet they don't even call, if the people in Russia probably don't even say, like when we were overseas, we would refer to America, we'd refer to it as the States. You going back to the States? You stationed stateside?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going back to, we never said you going back to America. Nobody ever said, no, nobody ever said, are you going back to America? No, I'm going back to the States, man.
I'm going El Norte.
I got my car in the shop out to the border.
I don't know. You sounded Canadian actually. There, a little bit Canadian. Oh my gosh. Okay, we are not very talented here, but we still entertain.
Here we go. The rest of that crazy bite.
The thing was that he was at the meeting and that he didn't report having been at the meeting in his initial, as I understand it, in his initial filing to get the security clearance. So at the very least, he's corrected that. But there's some question about how knowing that was. So perjury, no. Lying the government, maybe.
All right, we have another one, false statements. And this is about a person knowingly and willfully making any materially false statement or representation within any of the three branches of government. This is obviously...
This is MSNBC desperately trying. They want treason. They want perjury. They want willfully misleading. They want lying. They want collusion. They're going down the list of things. And this professor is saying, I want to help you guys. And I know that's why you brought me on. And I know you'll never bring me back if I don't give you what you want.
A lower standard. Does this fit in?
This relates to the filing for the security clearance, and I think it's a similar kind of question. It was a false statement. Did he know it was false, or did he just forget? And it's been corrected. It may still affect whether he should have a security clearance, but it's not clear we're quite up there yet.
All right, Allie's bringing up his own sign.
Can I do my Kellyanne Conway sign? Can you see that? You can't really see that, right? Maybe.
So this idiot on MSNBC writes the word collusion on a white piece of paper.
Oh, trying to make fun of Kellyanne, who held up her pieces of paper. I don't know if you saw that.
Could you read Kellyanne's piece of paper?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's clear.
Okay, this idiot wrote with the ultra fine pencil, and they couldn't see it, and so finally the cameraman actually held up something to shade it so that he could film it. It's a hot mess over at MSNBC. It's a hot mess.
Yeah, you could clearly read Kellyanne Conway's signs.
So Professor busts their bubble. MSNBC, watching this clip, you clearly see they want the goods. They want something on Trump. They got nothing, and they are desperate to dig and dig. It's like having that psycho girlfriend. Like, that's really psycho girlfriend. She gets into your mail. She gets into your email. She gets into everything.
But nobody doubts
she's going through your clothes and your wallet.
Right, but everybody knows now that the left is completely psycho.
And I'm like, hey, babe, trust me, man. I know it's there. It's somewhere. I said, if you keep looking, you're going to find something.
Baby, I love you.
You say that now, but what'd you do last week? I'm like, I didn't even know you last week.
Oh, Brian is.
I just met you last night.
It was Sunday night, so obviously
was out drinking with my friends
that I just met, and
celebrating my.
And now I think he's cheating on me.
We just.
Oh my gosh!
So here's Hannity. Hannity couldn't handle it this week. Hannity was on fire all week on his show and his radio show.
Oh, they were giving him all of his ammunition.
Yeah, and this is what he had. This is a 1 minute clip on Hannity, and this is how he felt.
This is the most important part. If we're going to have equal justice under the law, reopen Hillary Clinton's email investigation. Since we know, well, that in that particular case, Lynch influenced that investigation.
Yep.
Only a matter? Not really. There's also Hillary breaking the law, having secret, top secret, special access program, classified information on her server. That's mishandling by definition. And then destroying some. Then the corrupt Uranium One deal. Remember, she was serving as Secretary of State, approved the transfer of up to 20%. America's uranium, the foundational material for nuclear weapons. A real Russian conspiracy. That goes to Vladimir Putin. That goes to the Russians. And people involved in that deal kicked back as much as $145 million into the Clinton Foundation. That's called bribery where I grew up. And while Bill Clinton doubled his speaking fees in Moscow. Nobody else is telling you this. It's outrageous, the double standard. It is beyond anything I've seen in my lifetime.
It's not a double standard. It's a smoke screen. They know that they got prison written all over them, and we got to hide this.
Oh yeah,
we got to do something about this. So everything that they're coming out with is like this new smoke screen. Russiagate has been very, very. It's been critical, not just important, critical to the smoke screen of their illegal activities, that mask their illegal activities. When James O'Keefe threatened to really, he put the dagger in that thing. He put the oak stake in that. He put the silver bullet. He
put in there the current people currently working at CNN.
Yeah.
They're currently employees.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that he was trying to destroy CNN. If you guys watch my Periscopes,
I think he wanted to stop the fake news.
Fake news altogether. Yeah. He just happened to hone in on CNN, which I thought was really brilliant. Don't worry about the rest of them. I had to point out, because a lot of people weren't getting this, and I'm sure all you guys listening totally get this, but I came out with a very popular Periscope right at that moment saying this isn't about CNN. This is sort of about fake news, but mainly that Russiagate is a hoax, right?
Right.
And so anybody talking about Russiagate being real is totally 100% fake news. It's not just CNN. It's your MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post. That was what my point was. That being said, they needed to resurrect it. And that is what this whole thing. When did this meeting happen? This Jon Jr. meeting, when did it happen? Last summer.
So you're telling me they knew this?
How the hell? The woman is a Democrat operative. They sent her in to do this. The Obama administration wiretapped the entire thing. They had collusion with everybody on the left. This was a giant operation that involved all the way to the top. Obama, all the intelligence communities, warrants for wiretaps. The SCOTUS was involved in this. Okay? That's how big this was. It's a year old. Why did they drag it out at this time? Precisely days after what James O'Keefe did.
That's amazing.
To keep or to resurrect Russiagate. It was their only card.
There's
nothing
their
left. Last card to play. This is it. There may be some people are saying, well, gosh, if they have this, they might have a whole deck of cards. It's possible. But for them to pull this out a year after it happened, knowing full well it's always been there, they had the card in their hand. They knew they had it. But for them to play it right now, a week after American Pravda by James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, it was dead. It was a cadaver. And they had to call up Dr. Frankenstein to put this thing back together. And that was it. This was their last card. This was the last get out of jail free card. They played it. They pulled this year-old farce out of the woodworks. And why did they wait? This could have been an October surprise. Why didn't they do it?
Because there's no there.
Well, no, because it exposes what the left was doing.
Oh, they're willing to expose themselves.
That's their last card.
Wait, but it'll expose us.
What do they do when you have cancer?
Else?
What if you're you're days away from dying of cancer? They do some stuff to you to try to save you.
They're like, no, you're going to take all my organs but one? Well,
they do very, very things that would normally be destructive of you, right?
Yeah, it's either that or you die.
Yeah, so they did this because they knew that if they didn't play this, Russiagate's over. How could they resurrect Russia later on down the road? It has to be played now. I guarantee you they had a high-level meeting and said, should we play the Trump card, the last one, the Trump Jr. card, pun intended? And they were probably like, oh, you do realize this opens us up, right? You do realize, yeah, but if we don't play it, it's done. It's in the ether. All that work we did, we got Obama involved. We got all the intel communities involved. We got the courts involved to give us a warrant to tap this thing. We can't let all that go to waste.
No.
Tax dollars, money has been spent.
We have blown good tax dollars.
This stuff, we need to make some hay out of this. So that's what they did. They loaded the silverware into the cannon. It was the last shot.
Speaking about did you say that Bill Mitchell tells that story?
You mean that analogy?
Yeah, the analogy.
He, multiple times he's brought up the analogy.
The analogy is, and this is what really went down back if you were a pirate.
Yeah.
If you was a pirate and you were on the Bugs Bunny
a Somali pirate?
If you were on the Bugs Bunny show and you were a pirate,
is that how he pronounced it?
Yeah, and you were losing, and you had it all was gone.
You would have ammunition, you have your cannonballs and all that kind of stuff, but you have a finite amount of cannonballs.
Right, and you might still have gunpowder left over, though.
Right.
So you jam the gunpowder in there, and then you start jamming forks.
Because you're out of cannonballs.
Take the chairs, break them in half, throw them in there, just jam it down in there.
Okay. So you're kind of shooting them with...
Fires away.
Yeah, like with shrapnel and stuff.
Right.
But it's better than nothing.
You start putting first aid kits in there.
What? That's an oxymoron, isn't it? Shooting first aid kits at him. Oh my God, he's shooting doctors at him and everything. Just jam a doctor.
We don't need this guy.
He's expendable.
He's taking up weight.
Oh my God.
What are you, on a hot air balloon? Yeah, dump him overboard. We need to lose weight.
Oh my gosh.
So here's some more laughs. This is a flashback from the past, but this is how, folks, we've got to remind you. This is CNN. This is how ridiculously stupid they were back then, and they are that bad now. They haven't changed it, just that bad.
They destroyed BlackBerries with hammers in the State Department. That's not what won the presidency.
Actually,
Evan,
that came out in the hang on, Evan Perez. Hammers, fact check that for me, please, on the fly.
Fact check that for me on the fly.
Does anybody doubt that they destroyed the cell phones?
She stopped him from talking.
And she sounded so annoying, I wanted to hit her with a hammer.
Yeah, she turned to another guy in studio and said, fact check that on the fly.
Yes, they did, Brooke. As you mentioned, there were 13 devices, mobile devices, and 5 iPads that the FBI said that, in some way were used with her private email server, and they did, in some cases, just destroy them with hammers when they were done using them.
Hold on a second. He said destroy them with hammers. Couldn't it be, isn't it possible that he was building a deck or something? And he ran out of fasteners. And he needed to keep putting this thing and building it. So he used the phones with the hammer and got them into the wood to hold this thing together. Isn't that possible? Is it possible?
If the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
I'm using the Johnny Cochran defense here.
Ladies and gentlemen of the supposed jury. Is it not possible
that they were using the phones with a hammer Because they ran out of fasteners when they were
folks,
putting it down.
we're only doing this. We're having fun with this because you've got to laugh at the lunacy.
The insanity.
The insanity that ensues.
Kekistan Rose calls it blackberry shivs. What in the world? Oh, my God.
Wonder how many people got shivved that's close to the Clintons with a slice of blackberry.
Yikes. A blackberry shiv. Yeah, I mean, that's how you got to keep the deck together. That's why I was hitting it with the hammer. They're making it sound like I'm destroying blackberries with hammers. No. This is tools.
Hey.
It's tools.
Nothing can be created or destroyed. It all is what it is.
That's right. Dude. You got to, if you don't know physics, perhaps the laws of physics cease to exist in this courtroom. I'm just saying.
The laws of physics are different in your kitchen to cook a grit versus the rest of the world.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, that was a My Cousin Vinny reference. Are you sure about that 5 minutes?
Yeah. My cousin Vinny, God bless it. Okay, so Nigel Farage, just an incredible guy. I'm going around the world, I guess, a little bit, but I love bringing in Nigel because he's the only one left.
He made great sound bites this week.
He's the only one left in London, if you will, that makes any sense.
But he's involved with the American politics. He's
Correct.
The Trump administration.
And this is what he had to say on Fox and Friends about these libtards.
Look, what you've got here is the liberal establishment.
I love
what you got here.
What you've got here is the liberal establishment, both in politics and the media, simply can't accept the fact that Trump won last November. They're trying to find a reason why, and they say, we've got it. It's all because of Russian interference. And so what they're trying to do is to make a link between anybody that supports Trump and Russia. You know, in my case, to be apparently a person of interest to the FBI is just simply beyond me, when I've had no political or business dealings with Russia at all. But, you know, they see a photograph of me shaking hands at a cocktail reception with a Russian ambassador to London, and they say somehow that's proof. Yeah. Look, let's be frank. Let's be frank. You know, it wasn't wise of Donald Jr. to go into that meeting, but you know, he's not a politician, and there was an error of judgment in going into that meeting. But you know what? Nothing came out of it. Donald Jr. has done nothing wrong whatsoever, and I'm seeing this feeding frenzy amongst the media, people who don't like Trump and want to damage him, and it's bad for democracy, because this man was elected on a platform, on a ticket to do things in America, and all that's happening here is he's being held back, and that's wrong.
Yeah. An attack on democracy. I really like that line, because that's absolutely 100% correct. He was legally, properly, constitutionally elected through our process as spelled out in the Constitution. There was nothing tainted about it. You know, if falsehoods came out about Clinton that we know were false, that we didn't know were false until right after the election or something like that, I'd be like, oh, that's too bad for her. It's unfortunate that we didn't have the true right information when I went into the voting booth and marked down Trump instead of Clinton, because maybe my judgment was improperly altered with false information. But no, it's true information. Some people say, well, that was illegally obtained. Was it really? Is it illegal? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But is it illegal for let's say somebody, I'll just use a hypothetical, Seth Rich, who was working for the DNC, to take all the information that he has access to as a DNC worker and bring it on out and give it to WikiLeaks? Is it illegal? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, it would be on the level of me taking information from the company. I worked for a company where I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
And in that non-disclosure agreement, it said that because we worked on GE parts, I couldn't take pictures, I couldn't take the blueprints, I couldn't walk out with books, I couldn't take anything because that stuff belonged to GE. If I did do that, GE, they are part of the government, but I digress. GE would have to contact the FBI
to
come after me.
But they're building parts for the government.
Right. So
So that might be not the greatest example, but let's say you work for a company, or let's say they were...
But example nonetheless, that's my whole point, though, is that if you sign a non-disclosure agreement with anybody, they have legal recourse against you if you violate that.
Civilly, though.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
This is all civil. Mm-hmm. None of this is federal.
Because you're doing damage to the company that is of monetary value.
Right. So the only way for the Clintons and the DNC to actually get the feds involved was to claim that the election is being hacked by a foreign entity.
Boom. There you go.
And now you got the CIA, the FBI,
right,
the NSA, the TSA, the LLA, and the BBC.
And the ABCDEFGHI, whatever.
All up in it. All up in the grill.
The LGBTs?
And even to this day, the DNC has still not turned over their servers to the FBI or the CIA.
That just proves to me and everybody listening.
RNC did.
That this whole thing is a game.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a game.
The RNC invited the feds in to look at their servers to see if they were hacked, and they found, oh, no, you ain't been hacked. But the DNC, we know, was hacked and still will not turn their servers over to the CIA, FBI, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Our conclusion is that they were hacked, but our conclusion is that the hacking that happened had nothing to do with what WikiLeaks ended up with. We think that was an insider information.
Right.
It's possible, too, that it may prove that they weren't hacked at all. It's theoretically possible that the intel organizations that have come out and said, we know the Russians hacked the DNC servers, it could be that those are deep state Obama operatives who came out and lied about that information. Very possible. That being said, if they look at the servers, they might find out, oh, you were not hacked. All this stuff was downloaded on location by a guy. Let's look at his username. Oh, that's Seth Rich. That's Seth Rich right there. I'm just saying.
Oh, dude. And this is proof. Grucifer 2.0, my main man.
It's Gucifer, not Grucifer. You're thinking of Despicable Me.
Gru.
Because he could have done it too.
Did I say Grucifer?
Yeah.
Okay, Gucifer 2.0.
Right.
My main man, if you go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Smith Radio, we actually have a T-shirt for sale.
Oh, yeah. I love that shirt.
It's a Gucifer T-shirt.
Yeah, it's like
pretty wicked.
Stylish. Yeah. Wicked's a good word for it.
Yeah. So you pick that up over at facebook.com/Smith Radio. And but Gucifer showed that he did not have digital copies of Seth Rich's information. He had the physical copies of the material. He had the material.
Well, he's the one that claims to be the middleman or something, right?
In hand.
He would have received it from Seth Rich and then given it to Julian Assange.
Correct.
But he didn't get killed. Seth Rich did. And it was interesting because Julian Assange alluded to the fact that Seth Rich was a source.
And then he backed off, but he was on it.
Not very much.
No.
He just said, no, what I'm saying is
I think all his other sources were probably comfortable with the level that he came out with. I certainly would be. I would be like, okay, if I'm your source and I die, go ahead, talk about it. I'm cool with that. I don't need anonymity anymore.
Right.
I'm dead dog.
That's a shame that in the course of his keeping his sources masked, that even if he knows for 100% fact that his source is dead, that he still can't divulge anything. That's kind of a shame. I would think that it would be automatic. Okay, well, this one source is dead, so we're going to go ahead and release the fact that this information was received by Seth Rich. And you can't even say that.
No, you can't. So you want some good news about all of this? You want some really good, feel-good, fuzzy, warm news?
I thought we were already happy because the whole thing's a joke and everybody knows.
Breitbart.
Yeah?
Make you all warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
Breitbart.
They usually do.
At Breitbart News on Twitter and Breitbart.com. Breitbart wrote this: despite the legacy media's wall-to-wall coverage of various Russia-related scandals involving President Donald Trump's associates since April, the number of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents who think that the Russians sought to influence the election and that the Trump team intentionally helped them has plummeted from 18% in April to 9% now, according to ABC News Washington Post poll released on Sunday. So the fake poll that we had saying that Trump is the worst ratings ever, and we know that they're skewed polls.
Oh, towards the Democrats, big time.
Their poll now goes from 18 to 9%, literally cut in half. And that's fake. I mean, it's probably like
3%.
Probably 3%.
Right.
So feel good, rest assured, sleep well tonight, knowing
that everybody thinks this is fake.
Yeah.
So in the tug of war between your James O'Keefe's, who tried to expose the Trump Russiagate collusion lie as a lie,
right,
and the propagandists in CNN, Washington Post, New York Times, and all the other fake stream medias trying to say this is real, Russiagate's real, it influenced the election, we have a fake president, he's fraudulent, and also he's a liar who's doing illegal things that should be impeached. That tug of war that's happening right now, James O'Keefe is just dominating them.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's feel good. That's really awesome.
And I talked about this last week. There was a new, it wasn't a poll, but it's like, they rank your organization as to how many views you have, how relevant you are.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they do this list all the way down. You remember hearing a show back in the day called Nick at Night?
Actually, that's a channel.
Oh, the channel.
Yeah, it's still around.
Nick at Night,
Mm-hmm.
They got better ratings than CNN.
How do you know?
It's on the list.
I thought you had a soundbite of Nigel Farage saying it, which is hilarious.
I did, but I was like, I'll just say it out loud.
Oh, it's been played all week on Sean Hannity, and I think even Rush Limbaugh played it.
He couldn't handle it. It was just hysterical.
He was blowing up. So I'm like in my hospital bed, just trying to stay up on the news, which I probably staying up on it better than anybody else because I was just nonstop wall to wall.
Yeah, because I'm talking to Carrie. He's like, CNN. I'm like, dude, what? CNN. But let me tell you something. CNN.
Right. It turns out Nigel was on there destroying them so bad that they were like, well, Nigel, I know you're destroying us right now, but you asked to come on. You asked to come. They were so beaten into a pulp by Nigel that they were just like, it's not like we asked you to be here. You asked to be here. It's not like we're beating up on you or trying to. You asked to be on it. Now you're beating up. Why would you come on just to yell at us?
Right.
Because somebody's got to yell at you.
Somebody's got to put you in your place.
Somebody's got to tell everybody who watches this fake news crap that you're a bunch of fake news liars. And I can't do the British accent, but if I were to do what he said, it would be in a British accent.
And this Smith Radio exclusive. Smith Radio exclusive. We have sources.
We do.
Deep in the bells of hell.
Let me describe this source to you. We're talking about the same thing, right?
Gorgeous.
Just healthcare, right? Are we talking about a different one?
Yeah, FDA, CNN. Our deep source inside has proof that the FDA has CNN on loop on their media kiosk.
Oh, that's a different source.
At their complex in Silver Spring.
Yeah.
Media kiosk.
It's a government facility.
Right. And the media kiosk tells you of upcoming events and things that are going on. There's a crawler at the bottom or whatnot. And at the top right-hand corner plays CNN on a loop.
And I asked this source, what do you mean by on a loop? It's just it's nonstop.
Nonstop CNN.
Nonstop. So
how does the federal government...
I call it a conflict of interest.
Massive. Why would the federal government want to stream? They should be streaming.
Deep state. It's deep state.
Stream C-SPAN.
There you go. And by the way, why is it that PBS programming is heavily defended against copyright? We all own it.
Yes.
If you work for PBS and you create an hour-long documentary, and by the way, their documentaries are awesome.
I own that.
Yes.
I'm a citizen.
Why can't I have a clip of that or something? Or somebody, I try to look for a full upload on YouTube. It should be on YouTube. PBS should have a channel on YouTube that when a documentary comes out on their channel should also be available for free on YouTube. You try to upload it onto YouTube, first of all, they won't do it. And if you do it, boom, instantly taken down, instantly. And if you ever find it, you better watch it because it's going to be taken down instantly. But I digress. Okay. I just want to get that rant off. So yeah, that's one. This is another exclusive. We have a source, and I tweeted this yesterday, and it turned into a barnstorm. A barnstorm. And I'm glad we're waiting till the last minutes of the show because I'm nervous about it. But I said it because I wanted to be first, and I don't care. We have a source that's in the medical industry who also has close ties to politics, local, state, and national government. This source knows people personally and by osmosis. He knows people and knows what's going on, right? Also in the healthcare industry, who claims, and I trusted this source well enough to go ahead and tweet it, that healthcare, the Senate healthcare bill, will pass. And the reason this source has said this is because things are going on at the state level of government that would only happen if they knew, these state people knew and were told it will pass.
Right.
That's how we know that the Senate healthcare bill will pass. So I tweeted this out. I just kind of was like, all right, I'll throw it out there and just to be on record. Literally, I was tweeting it out just to be on record as saying that I know it's going to pass. And if you happen to be a follower of Smith Radio, at Smith Radio on Twitter, that you will see this and know, Carrie is saying that Senate healthcare is going to pass. Interestingly, within hours after tweeting that, McCain can't vote.
Yeah, it got eye
within hours.
Blood clot in the eye.
Which actually bolsters my claim. Which, by the way, my claim is just...
Meaning they need John McCain there to pass it. Well, right. And you got Mike Pence that'll be the tie vote and will pass too.
Well, John McCain must have known, or friends of John McCain must have known, or he's a puppet. His puppet master.
Oh, he pulled out.
Yeah, because he knew what we know, which is that it's going to pass.
Okay, I got to pull out. What should I say? Well, I got this doctor friend. We'll call it a blood clot, and he got it. He removed it. He got it. And he said that you need to stay in Arizona. You cannot fly. You stay in Arizona to recover.
He had to go and make a special appointment for that to happen, and it was just a routine checkup. They found it on a routine checkup. Brian Hassine, who follows us, he's also on Your Voice Radio, but also stays up on our stuff. He made an awesome observation. He said, why wouldn't he wait? If this is just a routine checkup, why didn't he wait till recess to have this routine checkup? It's kind of curious that this routine checkup had to happen at this moment in time.
Well, you know, I do all my checkups during the work hours. Why would I do a checkup during my holiday vacation time?
Yeah, so
I get 200 days off a year. I'm not going to spoil that with a medical incident.
So Brian Hassine found it very curious that he would make this routine checkup, which coincidentally, happy little coincidence, caused him to have a medical condition that made it impossible for him to vote. Hours after we found out through our inside sources that must remain anonymous at this point and probably forever.
I know it's tinfoil hat stuff, but
yeah, I know.
Just like I said to my 18-year-old niece, AJS. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying that sources familiar with the case, familiar with healthcare.
They're familiar with healthcare?
They're familiar with doctors. They're familiar with the practice of medicine. They're familiar with it.
They've seen commercials on TV about medicine.
And they stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
I did. I threw that out at Kerry when he was in the hospital. I told him, I said, I don't know what the doctor's talking about. However, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Oh my gosh! And I can't.
Did that make you laugh at all?
There was no laughing with my condition. Oh, if I had to laugh, I might have to call for extra morphine.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really painful. So anyway, yeah, just know that I can't sit here and tell you, oh yeah, I know for a 100% fact that this is 100% true and that healthcare will pass. All I can tell you is that a source with the kind of background and industry knowledge that I know that person to have,
right,
makes it something that I felt comfortable going ahead and tweeting out.
Cool.
So healthcare is going to pass.
All right, real quick, Trump around the world. Drudge tweeted out a headline, he shouldn't be allowed to do this. Trump around the world, in France, in Poland, everywhere he goes, the people around the world. He went to the women's tennis something or other today, whatever it be. Hate me for it, but I'm not into that stuff. They were cheering. Somebody videoed it and put it up on Twitter. They were cheering. First time presidents ever went to these things. Trump. Make America great again, Trump. Trump in France. The French are going nuts for Trump. 6 out of 10. 60% of the French approve of Trump's visit.
Which is amazing. You think 60, you mean 6 out of 10? That doesn't sound like a lot. Guys, we're talking about an entire continent that is just a bunch of socialist. America hating, we're the great Satan.
They eat frog legs.
Oh, I thought they were just called frogs.
Okay.
I don't know.
So, but here's the thing. There was
a racial slander.
There was a bromance going on. Macron.
Did you see this handshake?
Yeah.
You saw the video of it?
Yeah.
When I saw that video and all the commentators who talked about the handshake, and then he kisses his wife while still holding on to the hand. They held on for over, a minute and a half, 2 minutes?
People are saying, I didn't hear the audio of this, but lip readers are saying, Trump said to Macron's wife, you look great.
And kissed her. Yeah. While holding on. It's kind of a cuck move, right?
Well, yeah, because he's showing Macron how to do it.
While holding his hand.
This is what a man...
He wouldn't let go of his hand.
This is what a man does. And
Macron said, I'll hold on to your hand while you do it.
He was taking it all day long. I don't know. I'm not sure if Trump understood. Macron's down with that.
Okay. Based on the media. Isn't menage a trois? Isn't that French?
It is. It is. Macron is 39 and his wife is 64.
Grandwife. Copyright Smith Radio.
Oh. It's his grandwife.
Yes.
Dude.
Copyright Smith
Dude.
Radio. Okay, so here's what I watched the whole thing. And by the way, I heard some of the reporting prior to actually seeing the video. And then I saw the video. So I already heard that they were all up in arms. They were freaking out. They were going crazy. The mainstream media was crazy about this handshake. And then I watched it, and then I realized that this could only happen one way. There's only one way this could happen. Either he set it up with Macron earlier or said, screw it. I don't care if Macron knows or not.
I think he said, screw it.
And said, I'm going to give something for the media to talk about for the next 24 hours. I think he did it specifically to give the media 24 hours of nonstop commentary.
I mean, you want to talk about a man. I mean, he's a man's man. Yes.
Like beforehand, he's like, like he's brainstorming. He's like, what could I be a puppet master for CNN?
I don't think he had to think that long.
What could I do? What kind of weirdo thing could I do? And I'm not saying he's calling himself a weirdo. I'm saying what kind of thing could I do to get the media to say, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And it looked completely strange. Right. But I don't think he was doing it because he's an awkward person. I think he was doing it to troll the media 100% And it worked brilliantly. He trolled him so hard.
Macron got fired up. He was fired up. I mean, in a good way, in a weird way, in a creepy way.
He's a creep. I can't stand up. I got to stay sitting.
He said, "When this reminds me back in elementary school when my grandwife was teaching me." That was his teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Back in elementary, when he was in first grade.
Right. We're running out of time real quick. Clinton body count. 2 different suicides, individuals looking into the Clinton email campaign. This by PJW, Paul Joseph Watson. According to Congressman Ted Lieu, the suicide of a GOP operative, Peter Smith, who claims that he tried to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails, seems awfully suspicious, as the Chicago Tribune reveals. Smith killed himself at a Minnesota hotel just days after talking to the Wall Street Journal about his efforts, leaving a suicide note. Here's a suicide note. Bold letter, capital letters. No foul play whatsoever. I just wanted to do it. A Haitian government official expected to testify this week on Tuesday. He's dead too.
Found dead with a bag over his head.
According to Miami-Dade's medical records supervisor, the official cause of death is gunshot to the head.
Oh, that's a gunshot. The other guy with the bag over his head.
Death has been registered as a suicide.
Expert
go ahead.
Said that that's exactly what you would say to spearhead an investigation. That's so oddball that you would say that.
Folks,
fastest hour.
Fastest 3 hours you'll spend anywhere in your entire life, folks. Share, like, thumbs up, retweet, do something. Somebody's phone's working. Good night now.
Don't forget to follow and share, people. Follow and share. Start late?
Maybe 30 seconds.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
Wow. Yeah.